Lamine Yamal steps into McDonald's, looks left, sees Pulisic, looks right, sees Jimenez. Gives a nod to Ronaldinho in the corner with a FIFA World Cup meal. Ronaldinho sees Son in the booth. Son finds Beckham going for extra Big Mac sauce. He's got Davies at the table just behind him. Davies going for his collectible cup. But a steal by Henry, who pulls his own collectible cup. Collect one of 9 legendary cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Live from New York, a show that's not sure we believe our friend Ramsey, who is...
I believe him. He's been right about the Knicks all
in 5
year long.
on our rundown.
He's not really right. He's just an ardent Knicks fan. He's just like Knicks.
No,
He hasn't been right. He's been on the show for 5 years.
Yeah, it's not right.
Stuff.
It's just your team finally came together.
Before the series, to be fair.
Wow.
He hasn't been wrong yet. Let's just see.
What do you have?
Knicks in 6.
6.
I think Wilds is swaying.
And Brew, by
Wilds
the way, again, I don't want to spoil any part of our who you got tomorrow. But Brew picked the Spurs to lose 3 games before the series, but is going to as far.
Lose? Oh, yeah.
You picked Spurs in 7.
Yeah.
But every single game you've been like, I like the Spurs.
I'm picking the Spurs tomorrow. I mean, there's no secret.
It's very funny.
It should have been a sweep.
It's very funny how this works.
First hour of First Things First. Today, Wemby wins. Was this a one-off victory or a sign of things to come for San Antonio? Meanwhile, is Aaron Donald flirting with coming back? Myles Garrett thinks there might be a chance.
Donald,
and finally,
like Chris Jones there.
that footage is not too old. No. And finally, Mike Brown is upset with the officiating.
Uh-oh.
Does he have a point?
Well, this wasn't good.
You know what?
Get off me!
That one is hard.
That one, well, maybe Brew. I don't think Brew will defend it. That one's not great. That one isn't great.
It's interesting.
That should have.
Alongside Chris Broussard, Kevin Wilds.
You think?
Nick Wright.
So the rep was distracted by Keldon Johnson.
No, they weren't. Right.
They called neither.
It was
they called Keldon 10 seconds later. Yeah.
We're starting in the Garden. Wemby wins the must-win. 32 points, 3 blocks, several dunks. Silenced a raucous crowd that hadn't seen the Knicks lose in over a month. Here's Wemby on how he prepared for Game 3.
Really try to relax. The playoffs is like I've never said that word, a whirlwind. It's like, it's hard to put your head out of the water, and sometimes it's like, I don't even gotta watch the game back right away. I just need like a little time off, let my brain cool down, and recover. Recover as much for the body as for the mind.
Brew, is your faith restored in Wemby and the Spurs?
Well, look, it was definitely a good win, but they're still in a hole.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, y'all expect me to come out here and peacock and throw my legs up and order Tex-Mex and all that? Not yet, not yet. 2-1, good win. Like I said yesterday,
win.
absolutely necessary win. Yesterday, like I said, I didn't feel like the series was over because I think you'll agree with me, Nick. Look, every single game could have went either way. Yes. It could be 3-0 Spurs, 3-0 Knicks, 2-1 either team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Spurs could have, maybe should have won game 2, but all the games have been in the balance at the end, so it's very close. And the Spurs obviously pulled it out yesterday. The key to yesterday, though, was simple. It was Wemby went into the paint.
Correct.
Hello.
And you guys know I've been saying that all season.
What does Brew want him to do?
The one thing, yes.
Flash across the key.
Like, these are his first 4 shots.
Yeah.
Love it.
Paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paint.
He
was 4 for 4
Yeah.
on his first 4 shots early in the game.
That's right.
And then his 5th shot, which he missed, but watch it. He had Anunoby on him.
So there's the first.
Those are the first 4.
Yeah.
I think we have his 5th shot. I thought we did. But he posted Anunoby and turned and missed. But my point is, he played like he was 7'5" instead of 6'5".
Love it.
Now, I don't want him to not shoot threes because I think he's a good three-point shooter, not drive from the perimeter and things like that. He can do that, but it should begin in the paint. And that's not just on Wemby. It's on him, of course, but the coaching staff. You're supposed to tell your guys how to play. You tell them what position they play. Why in the world did you have to go down 2-0 before you tell him, get inside? It looked pretty easy yesterday. I get it. The Knicks probably weren't as physical as they had been in the first 2 games. They were doing a good job of keeping him out there, but he clearly wasn't committed to going inside in the first 2 games. This game he was, and you saw the result. And then, Nick, for the Knicks, they eventually, and we'll talk about Brunson and Cap, but they became too Brunson-centric.
Yep.
Last night they had 18 assists. In their 13-game win streak in the playoffs, they've averaged 27 assists a game.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they were not sharing the ball, and that was their demise. But that was the story of last night's game. Wemby inside, Brunson, too much Brunson.
So I want to start with Wemby. It was the first, in my opinion, the first game since game 1 of the Western Conference Finals where he was excellent in all 4 quarters. He did have that opening surge that I thought he was going to have, and then he also had an awesome second half, culminating with 10 points in the 4th quarter. We have not yet on this show figured out the best way to show you shot charts. So again, I'll show it to you anyway. And this involves a zoom in. If you look, so it's 4 threes, and then if you look near the basket, you can't see it all. He made 8 shots. There are 7 green dots right there.
Love it.
And so some of them are on top of each other, so it actually looks like
There's
less than what
also
it
no
was.
red X's in corner threes or the
No. And
14 of his 18 shots were in the paint.
Yes.
11 of them were at the rim.
And only 4 were from three-point range. 2 of 4 from 4 threes. He averaged 5.5 threes a game this season. I think 4 is probably more what he should average. I think that the jump shot being oh, wow, look at that, rather than a featured part of his game, is, I think, where ultimately his career will end up, because he will get stronger, because he will, I think, get a better endurance level. So I'm not sure, Brew, if the coaches haven't been telling him to get inside. And
then he should have been. He would have been inside if they were telling him to.
Or
he's 7'5".
I mean,
what are we doing?
Like the first 2 games and much of the season, his career, he starts out at the 3-point line.
Yes, I mean that.
They do start that way.
And so listen. It was an awesome response to the end of game 2. It was a championship-level response from Wemby to have that great of a game in that critical of a spot. It does not, to me, it should not fully restore Spurs fans' faith, because let's just operate in a world for a moment where the Knicks are the way better team, where the Knicks are a huge favorite, put it like that. In that series, and again, home court would probably be different, but if the much better team, if the big favorite wins the first 2, we always expect the team down 2-0 to show a higher level of desperation, to be better executing, and to say, hey, this isn't going to be easy, even if they're going to go on to lose in 5. The game 3 is almost always the game that if a team has any shot whatsoever, that they punch back. And the Knicks, too, and this might apply to some of the Mike Brown officiating conversation later in the show. The Knicks did not lose because of officiating. They lost because for the first time in 6 weeks, they played poorly. They didn't execute offensively well, and defensively, it was their least connected they have been defensively, I felt, since really in this streak, except for maybe the first 3 quarters of game 1 against the Cavs, when they just looked totally out of sorts.
And yet they were great in the second quarter. The Knicks.
Oh, the Knicks.
They outscored them, by 18 or something?
And that's where I will give the Spurs the most credit. even though I still think the Knicks are the better team and the Knicks are going to win this series. I thought the game ended at halftime. I thought having Wemby have that type of first half, the Knicks play, to my eye, not very well, and yet still have a 7-point halftime lead. I thought they were going to come out, the Knicks were, execute really well to start the second half, get a 12, 15-point cushion, and the Spurs were going to fold. The exact opposite happened. The Knicks came out at halftime, turned the ball over a bunch. The Spurs immediately erased the deficit, and they then controlled the rest of the game. And the Knicks were fortunate to have a chance late. But no, so I still think the Knicks are better, but I have to give all the credit in the world for Wemby not just putting up, okay, well, those are good numbers, but you saw his impact. Every moment he was on the court, he was great on both ends, and he did it in a way that it does feel like if he has this level of stamina and energy the rest of the way, he should be able to do it more, like, repeatedly throughout the series.
Brew, I want to get your reaction on one of the more controversial plays in the game. The note on this is from Mark Stein. The league will be reviewing this to see if it's a flagrant. Yep. It looks like Brunson has maybe a fistful of Wemby's jersey, and it's a pretty obvious shove to the superstar of the opposite team. I don't remember there being a play like this in the finals that was not called and was just sort of a play on. Josh Hart took exception to it. You know, Brunson took exception to it. Do you expect it to be
early in the game?
Yeah.
You can't even be like he was boiled over. Like it's 7 minutes into the game.
So do you think a flagrant is coming? / Do you kind of like Wemby's attitude?
I think it should have it's obviously a foul. Will they make it a flagrant? I'm not sure. I think if they do, it's justified.
Yes.
Absolutely justified. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's a foul. Maybe it's a flagrant foul. I don't think it's like a dangerous play. It's a push. It's a shove.
Because it's a push to the head.
Like it's not like the Nas Reed, elbow where you really could have hurt somebody
in the head is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at it as it's like a little sun. He sunned him, which I mean, that's kind of what it is. But he might get a flagrant, and you won't hear a peep out of me in saying it was the wrong call, because that's just, you can't do that. They were fortunate to get away with it. I think they were looking at Towns and Johnson battling, but Johnson should have been called for a foul there. He was called a few seconds later for a foul on Cat. But but the attitude, do I like it? I'm cool with it. I mean, these dudes are trying to win the finals. And I know that's out of bounds, and like I said, he should have been penalized for it. But I don't look at it as, what in the world is he doing? Oh my gosh, question his character. No, man, these dudes are trying to win.
So I'm not questioning his character. I do think he has in these playoffs, when he had the Nas Reed elbow, one of the things I said was that was a dirty play, but he has earned the benefit of the doubt of his career of not having any reputation.
That's right.
Since then, we have seen him, I believe, order the code red. Oh, yeah. After Carter Bryant body blew Shea, said to Carter Bryant, "I'm proud of you." This play, throwing Alvarado, he's showing he has, again, aside from the Nas Reed play, I won't call any of that dirty, but a mean streak, which, by the way, almost every all-time great big has had. So I don't have a problem with that. I do want to spend a couple minutes here, KW, on the flagrant piece of it, because I do think it should be upgraded to a flagrant, and I do think that could seriously impact the series. So one of the reasons I think it should be upgraded to a flagrant is I firmly believe that Jalen Brunson's restraint saved Wemby a flagrant foul here. Because if Jalen Brunson gets up and grabs Wemby, and then the refs call a T, then they go to the monitors, they look at it, and that's going to be a flagrant foul. Right. If there had been any stoppage there, they would have reviewed it. So if Brunson jumps up, even if he gets a T, that doesn't really matter.
Then Brunson would just get a T.
Not a flagrant. He wouldn't get a flagrant. Right. He would get a technical, which wouldn't be a personal foul, wouldn't be a flagrant foul point. So I think that should weigh a bit to the NBA. I also think Wemby did not get fined for the elbow, did not get fined for not talking to the media. The NBA.
That's why I'm wondering if he'll get a flagrant.
Well,
like he
they
should have got.
They
both
keep
of those.
erring on give the kid the benefit of the doubt. But here is why I think if this gets upgraded during the show, it could to a flagrant foul. It can have a real impact on the series. I want to now show a Josh Hart play later in the game that was totally accidental, and you'll see it better on a second replay. But on the second replay, what you'll see is Josh doesn't fall down, doesn't anything. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the way it's called today, a landing space flagrant.
Well, they called it on Brunson.
They called
earlier.
it on Brunson. Watch it again, Brew. Watch Wemby jumps backwards towards him, and Josh Hart's foot lands on his foot. Josh just doesn't fall down. Watch his right leg. It's not even close. He lands on his ankle.
I don't like those. If you're taking a shot from three and you land inside the three-point line.
And he spread his legs almost like so he couldn't land on his foot.
I'm not asking for this to be a flagrant foul. I hate that that's a flagrant foul. I hate that that counts to flagrant foul points. Here's the only reason I bring it up. If this gets upgraded to a flagrant, Wemby has to be in games 4, 5, and 6. Not game 7. Go crazy in game 7 because there's nothing after that. A touch more cautious on block attempts and closeouts because a fourth flagrant foul point is a suspension. And he's got two. If this gets upgraded, he has no margin of error.
I mean, then it
then they probably won't upgrade it. Real talk. Nobody wants Wemby out of the series.
No one. I don't even think the Knicks want him out.
Just like when Brunson got hurt in the first game, I was like, no, please don't be hurt. They'd be crazy. Unless he does something egregious, they'd be crazy to take him out of this series.
I agree with that entirely. What I will say is I think he has done now 2 things these playoffs that are objectively, to me, worthy of 3 total flagrant foul points. The elbow to Naz Reid is worth 2 every time, and I think this play to Brunson is very clearly worth 1. If I don't want him out of the series, no one wants him out of the series, I think the Knicks will win the series with Wemby playing at full strength. But much like I felt, and I think many people felt, when Draymond missed a game for slapping at LeBron, that even you put yourself in jeopardy with the body slam of Michael Beasley 3 weeks prior that you had no reason to do. If the bill ultimately comes due on his play on Naz Reid via a closeout flagrant foul because he lost his temper again on Brunson, it wouldn't be good for the sport, it wouldn't be good for the viewers, but it wouldn't be unjust. And so I think the league should upgrade it. And then Wemby's going to have to be very cautious on how it's also on block attempts. Like
you block attempt
accidentally hit a guy in the head because
that would not be
those 3 flagrant fouls. If he gets it, these 2 are not bad luck. These were intentional non-basketball plays, and so you remove your margin of error. My opinion.
The
league
league better be silent on it then. For the health of the league, it doesn't make sense to give him a flagrant, although I do understand by letter of the law.
If David Stern were still commissioner, you remember the Knicks with Patrick Ewing way on the other side of the court, suspended for games. So he would be in trouble with Stern because Stern would go by the letter of the law. I think Silvermore goes by the spirit.
But again, you couldn't go by the letter of the law here and then be very gray area on the one that would get you your 4th. Calling this a flagrant will not get him suspended.
Yeah, I know.
But but I think this is worthy of a flagrant. I do think that.
All right, we'll keep our eye on it if it breaks during the show. Yesterday we were talking about Karl Anthony Towns being the Finals MVP. For what it's worth, NBA.com's MVP ladder still has him at number 1.
No.
But we're looking at a fourth quarter disappearing act. Only had 11 points in Game 3 and has yet to score in the fourth quarter in the finals. Should the Knicks be worried about fourth quarter cat?
Listen, I would not be worried, but I do think he got kind of mentally taken out of Game 2 when he picked up his 4th foul, and Game 3 he didn't re-engage. When he came out, because he was playing the best game of his life maybe until those 2 quick fouls. And so we can show you the splits between, the minutes are not that different, KW. 58 to 48. The production is 28 more points, 9 more rebounds, 5 more assists, the field goal percentage. And so he wasn't great at the end of game 2, and he wasn't good at all yesterday. What are you saying about that fourth foul? I'm just saying that's he was playing the best basketball of his life through 6.5 quarters of this series.
But he still, even in game 1, was scoreless in the fourth quarter. So he just hasn't delivered in the fourth quarters.
But that's
period.
So I don't know if that's a problem, because here's Cat's production in the fourth quarter during their 13-game winning streak. 13 games, 9 points in the fourth quarter. So that's 0.7 points per game. It's less than 1 point per game in the fourth quarter. Less than one assist a game.
Blowouts.
That's fair. It has felt to me like the Knicks, when they were running hot, those 13 games, Cat was doing a lot of the damage early. Brunson was doing a lot of the damage late. And so I wouldn't panic over the fact that same template, they finally lost a game. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like, they got a closer, period. And you could talk, and we will talk about Jalen Brunson's struggles shooting the ball with his efficiency, but he's been great in the fourth quarters. He is 12 for 25, 48% shooting in the fourth quarters of this series, 32 total points. So he's averaging almost 11 points per fourth quarter in this series on pretty good efficiency. And he obviously won them game 1 in the fourth. And then, got the steal, technically won them game 2 as well with the free throw. And Cat, I'm more concerned, if I'm a Knicks fan, that Cat wasn't involved yesterday at all, or for the most part. And one thing the Spurs did, we talked about Wemby's impact offensively. Defensively, they took him off Cat, which, again, why did it take 2 games? Everybody thought that was going to be the case. I get them not starting that way because they maybe want to throw the Knicks off.
Yeah.
But they went that way for 2 full games for the most part, and then switched it last night, which allowed Wemby to roam. And Josh Hart hit some threes, but still, you would live with it. And so Cat had Vassell, Keldon Johnson, De'Aaron Fox at times guarding him, and the Knicks didn't exploit it. Didn't expose it. So to me, that's them they don't run plays for Cat. It's he gets it and he does his thing, but there are times you need to just go to him. So that's more concerning to me than the fourth quarter, because you're right. It seems like that's how Brunson's their guy in the fourth, and it's worked. But Cat needed to be way more involved in the game, at least in the first 3 quarters.
They did. A lot of the Knicks, and we'll talk about it throughout today's show, a lot of yesterday it's been a while since this has been the case, they didn't play well. Josh Hart.
But the thing is, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Josh Hart shot the lights out, and OG has been a metronome of consistency. Bridges played the worst game he's played since one of the first games of the playoffs. Cat was seemingly lethargic and not there. Brunson had his highest scoring game, but I didn't think it was great. I thought the Knicks overall just didn't play very well. And we'll see if that's a trend or if it's just, you guys believe in due dates. If they were just due.
The thing is that they caught a heater all season long in the first 3 games of the playoffs. They were, they're pretty good. Then they got on this incredible heater and went to a level no one really thought they could, except perhaps them. Right. If you get on a heater, you can get off a heater. Yeah. And so that's going to be, they have to get back to playing the way they were, which is having Cat he had 1 assist.
Yeah.
He's averaged 5.5 through the playoffs, so that's a sign, too, that they didn't have the ball movement. He wasn't involved.
All right, quickly, we're going to talk about the officiating, some curious calls and lack thereof in Game 3. Mike Brown gave the Spurs credit, but also wanted to make a point about the officials. Take a listen.
First of all, I want to make sure I get something clear. Coach Mitch Johnson and the Spurs, they won the game tonight. They came and took the game. But I will say this, I never thought I'd be in the NBA Finals and see a team get 24 free throw attempts in the second half to another team's 8.
Okay, so here are the numbers. In the first half, the Knicks had 14, the Spurs only had 8, but then it flipped by a pretty good margin. 24 free throws in the second half for the Spurs, only 8
And that series number, I feel like the Knicks 61 should have an asterisk. It should be 55. The 6 Mitchell Hack-a-Mitch free throws do not count.
Oh, that's
those are the Spurs saying we desperately want you to shoot free throws.
That's
So
a good
like
point.
for whatever, that's just a little small asterisk.
Do you have any issue with the way this game was called?
I mean, look, we talked about the Wemby on Brunson. Obviously, you look at that, you just point to that if you're a Knicks fan. But overall, I was fine with it. I mean, look, I see Cat grabbing Wemby every time they're connected. It's just they're
Look
all
behind you,
grabbing
bro.
him like
The picture behind you guys is literally that. Yeah.
I think Mike Brown smartly was doing what we see a lot of coaches do in the finals, where you put it out there for the officials to think about, and then next game maybe things are a little bit different. It was, I think, 23 fouls for the Knicks, 21 for San Antonio. I think San Antonio was more aggressive last night. They're the more desperate team. So I think that had a lot to do with the officiate or the foul shot discrepancy. But Brunson and Anunoby, who are the most aggressive Knicks, each had 8. One had 8, one had 9 free throw attempts. The only one to match that was Wemby. In the rest of the game was Wemby with 9. And so, you can't point to some Spur that was getting to the line inordinately. So I was fine with it. It's very physical. And like I said, they clearly missed the call on Wemby, which could have affected the game. But other than that, I think this is gamesmanship by Mike.
I also think they were a little upset with the Spurs trying to fake sub to see if they could get a challenge in, not being given the sub, and Dylan Harper just ambling onto the court.
Those are
that has to at the very least be a delay of game, and it really should be. I'm sorry, there's 6 guys on the court. That's a technical foul. We didn't wave you in.
We know every time pop up, get a sub.
Right, and so and the tax on that is sometimes that happens. Right. But here's what I think: the Knicks were called for all those fouls in the second half because they were fouling. And I didn't look at a single one of those fouls the Knicks were called in the second half and thought, well, that's outrageous. Yeah. Now, I understand Mike Brown's frustration on I have had to challenge on massive plays. I'm 3 for 3 in winning my challenges, which probably means just in the last 2 games, there's later in the game he didn't have any challenges left. Cat got hacked on the arms. But what I really truly believe is the Knicks were livid, I think rightfully, about the officiating in Game 2 and didn't get a chance to complain about it because they won. I thought the officiating in Game 2 was awful. And I thought it was awful, not conspiratorially, just how it fell, exclusively in the Spurs' direction. The Knicks won anyway, and so this game, they wanted to get that out there. But the Knicks did not lose because of the refs. They lost because they played poorly. They could have stolen it at the end, and it would have been stealing it because they didn't play that well. And so I understand some of the frustration because it felt like we're both playing physical, you're only calling fouls on us. Man, the Knicks were fouling in that game. And Mikal Bridges picked up 2 early fouls that got him out of rhythm. He fouled. The Knicks, to start the fourth quarter, was it? One of the quarters, they had 3 fouls in the first 100 seconds, and they were almost in the bonus immediately. They were fouling. So that part, but I do agree Mike Brown is trying to set the template to get a better whistle in Game 4, which is fine.
All right, is Aaron Donald returning to the NFL? Myles Garrett thinks there's a chance. That's next on FS1 and the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM.
That's what they gave me.
If you haven't heard, First Things First is moving to 10 a.m. starting tomorrow. Nope.
Thursday.
Starting Thursday.
My God, guys.
Sorry. Starting Thursday. Also on Friday. We're now also looking live at training from Team USA, whose game kicks off Friday.
This is, Brew, listen, I didn't write it the Gray Lady, but traditionally, that dash between Thursday and July 15th
all the way
means through. Means every day we're 10 to noon.
You told me there
No,
was
we
one
do have a bonus show late.
Bonus show, like a bonus tape.
But every day, Monday through Friday, we're 10 to noon. We're 10 a.m.
Eastern.
6 a.m. production call meeting, which God knows KW's attitude.
Wrong.
KW's attitude can't
As
get
I've
worse.
said before, I am a morning person.
Are you?
Yes, I'm not great.
Well, at 10 a.m., when our normal production call is,
Yeah, a little bit of a
that's
funky
bad
call.
news, buddy.
It'll be a little bit rough.
Because if you have the attitude you normally have our 10 a.m. call at 10 a.m. live show, we're in trouble.
It's going to be a
Ratings
tough adjustment
down.
this week.
Just want you guys to be great.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night.
Kevin. I believe
Wednesday
in
night. Brew's going to be
just trying.
mad. Spurs down 3-1. Oh, my. Also, new set
Thursday.
coming.
Oh, not
You guys
necessarily.
Lot of
believe
toys.
it.
Whoa.
Coach, how awesome were they?
All right, get a load of this story. A Texas judge has given Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby the okay to play this year, overturning a NCAA ruling that banned the quarterback after it was discovered he had made around $90,000 in bets on college sports. Also bet on the Hoosiers when he was on the Hoosiers.
40 times, right?
Yeah, 40.
Decent amount of times. I would say one is too much. And 40 is probably too
Right.
much. Now, other teams say, you know what, we shouldn't even play Texas Tech as a bit of a protest. The Georgia AD said there needs to be serious conversations about not playing Texas Tech in any sports. We're in volleyball. It's like, what did I do wrong? All FBS schools should take the field against programs operating on a uniform, trustworthy standard of fairness.
Yeah.
We officially reached the point of no return. So a lot of reverberations on this, your reaction to this kind of wide-ranging story here.
It's very multi-layered. Brendan Sorsby, since, went to recovery for a gambling addiction. I think that is admirable. I also think it is noteworthy that Brendan Sorsby, over multiple years at multiple schools, gambled, and then only said, I had a gambling problem when he was discovered to have been gambling. It doesn't mean they're mutually exclusive, but that does register a little differently than someone who tells on themselves, like, you know what, my life's getting out of control.
It's definitely different.
And
There's
so
no question.
the benefit of the doubt does, for me, just me personally, my values don't be other people's, does not land quite as heavily in his corner. That's first of all. Second of all, there are very few universal rules across all sports. But one of them, for as long as we've been talking about the Chicago Black Sox or Pete Rose, is you cannot gamble on games your team is involved in, even if you're betting on your team, even if you're not playing in the game. We've all known that is a red line, even as gambling has become ubiquitous, you can't do. He is not denying that he did that, and they are now, in my opinion, using legal maneuverings to make it to where there is no chance he can pay a penalty. Because by going for a temporary injunction, which is theoretically in place, like, all right, we could be doing damage here. I'm not necessarily saying the penalty's wrong, but let's pause the penalty until we can do more, until a further appeals process can take place. But that appeals process would take place well after this college football season.
Yeah, I think February.
Right, and so then the horse is out of the barn. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, what's so interesting about this case is everybody is acting in their self-interest, right? And look, I've got college-age kids, and they make mistakes, and you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and this, obviously there's a problem here, and you want to see him get help for the problem. So there's that component to it. But then you've got Texas Tech that says, hey, we're going to help him with this problem. Now, they wouldn't be, or would they be as motivated if this was a core special teams player? Right, as opposed to a quarterback that they paid $5 million for. They got from Cincinnati. He threw for 27 touchdowns. He ran for another 9 touchdowns. They lose to Oregon in the first round of the college football playoffs after winning the Big 12. Now they think, okay, we go get this guy. We got a chance to go deep in the playoffs. So they're acting in their best interest. And then you've got schools like Georgia, who are probably going to be in the college football playoff, and other schools, would they be making as much noise if it was a different type of player or a different type of competitor? So there's that, and then there's to Nick's point, it's like the stock market. You want, if you're in that, insider trading is not acceptable at any level. You want to be able to know that the things that you're doing, there's integrity to it, and it's the same thing with sports, and gambling's a big part of that, and people who are putting their money on games want to know that there's, the game is being played as fairly as possible, and they have a chance to win it. So everybody's pushing for their interest as opposed to necessarily pushing for the best interest.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of you in a lot of that. This is not the NCAA. This is Texas Tech. To me, the answer is Texas Tech should release him from the team.
Of course.
And say, we're not playing him. Texas Tech is a joke if they let this dude play.
Well,
You can't tell your student body about, don't lecture me about character, about honor, about integrity, about morality, about anything. Because you're down with cheating and you're down with doing something wrong. And so as an institution, I'm saying it, looking in the camera, if you let him play, your institution is a joke, period. You have no moral high ground to tell your students anything. So anything goes. Anything goes. That's what this is. You can't, with sports, do we want college football to become the WWE?
But Brew, when did college football, especially in this new landscape, I know they talk about morality, but there's a lot of decisions now that are made in
and
totally
not just college football. It's happening in institutions throughout our country where our standards are being lowered to a baseline level, if that. But this, I mean, like Nick said, and the gambling part is people are gambling on these games, wanting them to be legit.
Fair.
And yet, this is playing into these games being possibly rigged.
Well, and listen, there's a lot of massive problems. And so I want to address a potential problem that I think people have not, some people obviously have thought of this, but I don't know if everybody has. Because a lot of people are like, what's the problem if you're betting on your team to win? If you're the quarterback of a team and they're favored by 10 points and you bet on them to cover the spread and they're up 6 with 3 minutes left and you're in position to win the game but not cover the spread, you might absolutely play a riskier style, do more things to try to make sure you cover the bet and not win. But even if we assume that there was nothing he did that was against the interests of his team winning, and or in games he wasn't even a major participant, there must still be some very clear, unequivocal red lines. And it is very simple to say, if you are a college football player, you cannot gamble on college football. That's simple. And the other thing
Nick, even if you bet on your team to win, if you lose, or even if you bet on other sports that aren't college football, if you lose and you get in a hole, you owe a ton of money, and you're the starting quarterback on the team. Now somebody can come to look, this is the way you get out of this.
Absolutely.
And start betting on your own team. And that's been the problem.
That's always been, even before gambling was legal, that's always why college sports were more susceptible to point shaving than professional sports, because kids are more likely to owe an amount of money that they can't find a way to get out of. That is unequivocally true. But the point you made at the beginning is the point that I was going to land on, which is at some point, and we have kind of flirted in this conversation with bigger picture topics where you're talking about institutions, the standards being lowered or insider trading in the stock market. At some point, for societies or for organizations or for systems to function, you need adults in the room to not put what is best for them personally in that moment ahead of what's best for the overall health of the system. And that would entail someone at Texas Tech having, I would argue, the courage of their convictions to say, guys, this one time, this benefits us. But if we want Red Raider football, if we want college football, if we want college sports to continue on a trajectory of mattering in the country, then we cannot simply say we are going to be the team that crosses this Rubicon because this is the 1 in 100 instance where it helps us. Because if it becomes just commonplace to where the viewers think, oh yeah, players are betting on games they're playing in, then it loses its credibility across the marketplace. And we can talk about the overall creep of sports gambling, and I understand I'm probably an odd person to be discussing that, but there are some black and white things. And players gambling on the sport and the league in which they are playing has always been against the rules, unequivocally.
And you talk about the adults in the room when you talk about Texas Tech, but there's a judge involved here too.
Yeah, right.
And he set the court date at 2 weeks after the national championship. Like if you're not certain as to whether or not your ruling is correct, give someone else a chance to weigh in on this. But this has been set. It's an amazing coincidence. It's set 2 weeks after the national championship. So there's a lot of layers in here. And I agree with you, Nick. There has to be red lines drawn. But when you start getting to millions and millions of dollars and all the money that's now involved in college, it's not really college football. It's just a different
and they've
type
set a
of pro
precedent
sports.
now too. This ruling will set a
well,
precedent.
that's the thing there was another coach that said he was an anonymous coach, but he was a head coach. He's like, listen, if this, I think he was obviously being tongue in cheek, but he said to, I think, Stuart Mandel, he said to one of the college football reporters, he's like, listen, if this is what's going to stick in place, then I need to, in the spring or in the summer, talk to my players about collectively we're going to decide which games we're putting all our attention on, and we can all bet that game ahead of time and make sure those are the games we care about the most, because I'm trying to, prepare my young men for the future and make them as much money as possible. He wasn't serious in that, but that is not it. This is a laughable decision, and it's the rare case where I think that we don't have a 95-5 agreement in this society right now about what day of the week it is.
Right.
And I think there's probably a 95-5 agreement that this is bad for the sport.
Quickly, this is going to encourage other kids to do it. Because most of these college athletes, D1, are not going to the pros. So a lot of them may think, this is my chance to make some money.
As much money as I possibly can.
And so just like a harsh penalty would discourage players, like if he couldn't play college football anymore or anything, that would discourage guys. This slap on the wrist, not even a slap on the wrist, this will encourage more.
More First Things First after the break. Afternoon headline sponsored by Hilton Garden Inn. Hilton. It's for this day. Knicks finally lost. Brunson had 32-5-5. Funky on-off stats, however. Knicks this series based on Brunson on and off the court. On court, 110 minutes. New York's minus 13. Off court, only 34 minutes. They're plus 20. Well, that proves it. Trade Brunson. Is this something or nothing?
It's a tiny bit of something. I think it's more that the Spurs have tried their best to match Wemby's minutes to Brunson's.
Yeah.
And that I think Brunson of all the Knicks has had the least non-Wemby minutes. Yeah. And that's where the Knicks are dominating, is the non-Wemby minutes. And that was the case. They didn't dominate them last night, but that is where the minutes they won. So I think that's one thing. I reject the idea that he's wearing down. They've barely played these playoffs going into it. They're super rested. I don't think that's it. And I do think Danny, and I said this yesterday, and he thought I was being a smart aleck, but I wasn't. Danny was right that Stephon Castle is giving Brunson trouble. And Stephon Castle is playing great defense, and he's, in his jersey throughout the game.
And they're picking him up full court.
Full court. But with all that said, this series and in these playoffs, he just has been such a fourth quarter killer that I'm not worried about it. And if you show you his fourth quarter numbers, quarters 1 through 3, he's been pretty inefficient. And in the fourth quarter and overtime, he's been unbelievable. And Dust, I don't know if we can pull the Castle 3 with 2 minutes left, but the ultimate compliment I can give Jalen Brunson is, as this play we're about to show, as I saw it unfolding, Brew, Spurs up 4, 2 minutes left, Wemby looking unsure of what to do. In that moment, I was like, oh my God, the Knicks are going to steal this game. Mm-hmm. They're about to get the ball back, down 4. Wemby, as great as he was on that possession, didn't seem like he knew where he wanted to go. And he threw a grenade to Castle. And this play right here, it's a 4-point game. There's 2 minutes left. Wemby's got no answer. Castle, at the end of the shot clock, makes it game over. I know the Knicks made a couple threes late, but that, to me, ended the game. Yep. I did not care what Brunson was doing up to that point. In that moment, what's going through my head, Brew, is If he misses this, Jalen Brunson's going to go down court, get a layup, and they're going to be down 2 and find a way to steal it. Yep. And I felt that way only because of the faith I have in Brunson.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I think I don't put much credence in that plus-minus because, as you said, not just mainly Wemby, but when Brunson's on the floor, the better Spurs are on the floor. When some of these other reserves are on the floor and Brunson's on the bench, they're playing against Spurs reserves. So you always have to take that into account with plus-minus. And to underscore that, Stephon Castle, I think, has played really well. I mean, some points in game 2 struggled, but last night was great. He's a -9 in the series.
Yep.
All right. Wemby and Keldon Johnson are biggest Spurs at +10. Castle's -9. And Anunoby, who has been very good, -18.
You know what? This is the real example. This supports both of our takes at the same time. Read the top 3 plus-minus.
Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and Jose Alvarado.
I told you, Alvarado gets in there, and he's on the court with Wemby sometimes. He's willing to shoot. He's going right at Wemby. No, with the second unit, the Knicks' second unit is dominating.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it tells you. But I will say this, too. Cat is still the betting favorite for MVP, the odds-on favorite?
No, he was never the odds-on favorite. He was Brunson.
He's the NBA.com's MVP.
Cat. No. But no, the betting favorite.
I think if it was over now, for all the hand wringing about Brunson, and even me saying they became too Brunson-centric last night, Brunson would be the MVP to me.
Oh, if we're over right now?
Yeah.
I mean, because of Cat's.
Last night, Cat kind of fell out of it.
Right. Brunson's yet to have an objectively bad game.
What's he averaging? 28?
Yeah, thereabouts. And Cat, I think, did have a bad game in game 3. I have been a little. 2 things surprised me a bit, kind of surveying the take landscape from this morning. One was the resonance Mike Brown's comments about the officiating had, but I actually think that's a Twitter algorithm thing. I think people watch. I think, like, you watch somebody talk about something, and then the Twitter algorithm's like, oh, you're interested in this.
Exactly.
So then they send you more, and then you come in, you're like, man, everyone is talking about whatever the first thing you watch that you then get served all day. Right. So I think that became a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the other thing that surprised me more was, and maybe it is a testament that even amidst the 13-game winning streak, people didn't really believe in the Knicks. How many people are treating this morning as if the Knicks are down 2-1 in this series? Because they lost for the first time in 6 weeks. About all the major adjustments the Knicks need to make, about how critical Game 4 is.
Well, I think it is critical.
But it's more critical for the Spurs.
Yeah, it's an absolute must-win for the Spurs.
Right.
But
no, I think the Knicks need Game 4. The Spurs have to have Game 4. Game 3, the Spurs, that was an elimination game, and the Knicks didn't even need it.
I think people felt like with the atmosphere at the Garden that, like you thought they were going to blow out the Spurs.
I thought a blowout was on the board.
Yeah.
At halftime, I thought a blowout was coming. I didn't think going into the game but at halftime, I thought when they all of a sudden found themselves up 7, I thought blowout was coming.
Wemby played the villain. Al Harrington called this one. Next.
First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Live from New York, it's the show that has the producers trying to hijack.
Oh, you're blaming Ramsey?
I mean, it's on the board that Al has some anti-Knicks facts, and Ramsey
is trying to.
Yeah, he didn't want Al to
embargoed his notes for post-show. It's just on the board.
Have you seen Ramsey today? Ramsey is just
guys.
No, he's despondent. He's despondent.
He picked Knicks in 5. They have to lose a game for him to be correct.
Right. He wasn't expecting last night.
That's right.
It's not like they got blown out.
No, but once Wemby starts dunking the ball, it's like, how are we going to stop that? You're like, I'm not going.
If Wemby just goes inside,
he's tall.
Guys,
they're fine.
Super tall.
Okay.
You didn't see how tall he is?
I know he's very tall.
He just catches it, boom.
They've lost 8 games these playoffs. There's
you know what? In common in those 8 games, he doesn't play inside.
Well,
exactly right. Second hour, First Things First with Al Harrington. Today, is Wemby embracing the villain status? That's not really villainous VO there, but still. Meanwhile, just drawing in the park. Maybe he's drawing like mean stuff. Meanwhile, how much trouble are the Knicks in? We were just talking about Ramsey, how despondent he was. Maybe in huge trouble. But right now we're starting with a wild no call here, Al. Brunson might be holding on to Wemby's jersey, but not anymore because Wemby shoves him. No call. Brunson was asked about it afterwards and said this. Take a listen.
What happened between you and Victor in the first quarter, and did their level of physicality bother you?
No, to answer your second question. And whatever you saw is what you saw.
All right, your reaction to either Brunson or the play, Al?
All right, so I'm going to start with, for me, from Wemby, being that, he's a European player and all that, I actually like him, man. He's a dog. He's a dog. Because not only after he throws him to the ground, he turns around and says whatever, and he laughed at him.
Smiling, yeah.
Yeah, he laughed. Like, ha, 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 ha. But if I'm on the Knicks and I'm Mitchell Robinson or I'm anybody that can do something about it, my blood is boiling today. Like, it's no way you're going to handle my best player like that and laugh about it after. Like, next game, I'm sending a message.
It's one thing to
but
do it
why
to
they
Jose
didn't do
Alvarado.
anything this game?
Maybe they didn't see it. That's all I can
Josh
think of.
Josh took it out on Luke
All I'm
Cornett.
saying, they must didn't see that. But after I'm seeing this all day, think about back in the day, Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller had the Davis brothers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Ewing, he had Anthony Mason, he had Charles Oakley. You don't touch the best player on my team. You don't touch him. He's off limits. And if I'm in that role where, we don't need Mitchell Robinson to score. We need him to be our enforcer. So all I'm saying is tomorrow, Wemby better feel something from somebody on the Knicks, period. Because this is New York. Last thing I'm going to say. This is New York City. We do the punking. You don't let nobody, people can't even walk around with San Antonio jerseys,
that
bro.
part's too much.
What are we talking
That
about?
part's too much.
No, I'm just saying, but that's who New York is.
Spurs, but I like
No,
this
that's who New York is.
That's what I'm
So
talking about.
you gonna let this Frenchman come and throw my best player to the floor?
That part I agree with.
Come on, bro. Nah.
When Al played and I covered the NBA, you know what that Wemby play was?
What?
A Tuesday.
Man.
The first quarter.
No, Al
Happened all the time.
Regular season.
Come on, bro. What
And
we talking about?
then somebody would answer for
So
it.
here's my
I'm with Al,
theory as to
100%.
here's what I think as to why it wasn't answered for in that game. Because I agree, I don't think the team as a whole, in real time, aside from maybe Josh Hart, realized what had happened. Maybe at halftime they were alerted to it, but going into the second half of a de facto elimination game with a 7-point lead is not the time to be like, all right, we're gonna burn a flagrant foul possession. You know what? So they wouldn't have made if they were unaware of it until halftime. I think the situation of the game never allowed for the proverbial plunk the opposing batter in a blowout in baseball.
Can I offer a dissenting opinion?
Sure.
When did Brunson get lit up on the baseline? Third quarter?
It was
Castle.
That was third or fourth, yeah.
That wasn't this, but that was very similar to the Carter Bryant. All right, free shot at you.
Carter, yeah.
And it just feels like, to Al's point, that Jalen is getting roughed up, that you wouldn't see other superstars.
Well, no, it's the way Wemby was getting roughed up, and Wemby has started to protect himself in different ways. It's also here, my other reaction is this. That is not this, the Wemby play, is a flagrant foul. And I am...
No way.
You disagrey?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Do you?
It is, let me just say this quickly, Bruce. Sorry, I paused a long time. I apologize. The NBA has looked the other way twice on Wemby.
Yeah.
And one was not fining him for the Naz Reid play and not suspending him for the next game, which I didn't think they should, but I thought it was on the board. They didn't fine him for skipping the media. He, in the meantime, has, we think, told Luke Cornett to go hit, hard fouls. congratulated Carter Bryant.
Olenek for the record. It was.
It was what's his name?
Biombo and Olenek.
Yeah, you're the and so
not Olenek. It's Plumlee.
Plumlee.
Mason Plumlee. Yeah.
I understand why you got him confused. I totally get it. But he said hard fouls to them.
Or Cornet.
They're American.
One of those three.
He's an American. That's an old first things first show. All right, Morton, stay on topic. The point is this. He has been flirting with the edges of inbounds, out of bounds physical play.
Sure.
And I do think it is worth noting that if they give him a retroactive flagrant, that does not mean he will ever be suspended for a game. It doesn't mean he will ever get a fourth flagrant foul point, and I would be totally fine because just like you can retroactively give a flagrant, you can retroactively rescind one. If he does get a landing space flagrant or an accidental, he was going for a block, hit a guy in the head. If the next day the NBA is like rescinded, he's not suspended.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, actually.
You are able to do that. But I also think this. It's totally fair that if he has another incident that is a non-basketball flagrant foul intentional, he's done enough to where him being suspended the game would not be out of line. You understand what I mean? Like if he gets a retroactive flagrant for this, and then in Game 5 does something that we think is, what Josh Hart got the thing for. Guy's running up court and he grabs his leg and trips him.
You do that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, something like that. I think his margin of error should be gone. I think the benefit of the doubt on this stuff should be gone. He shouldn't miss a game, and right now he wouldn't miss a game. But I think he's used up his free passes on this stuff, and I think that's totally fair.
Al, in today's NBA, I feel like the players aren't. I feel like they're not thinking about retaliation. It might be, give him a little bump or something, and you don't want anything crazy, but I don't think it's like when you played.
No, it's not.
Where there is an enforcer on the team or guys that kind of are more physical and take care of that stuff. I don't see anything coming from the Knicks in that regard.
I hope that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're right. They don't think like that. That kind of mentality is kind of gone. But when you get to this point, and the fact that you're playing for it all, right? This is everything. This is everything you've dreamed about. As hard as you guys work, the blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point in the season, you got to win at all costs, right? And when you look at Jalen being their number one guy, and you see that the way that they're manhandling him out there. Now, Wemby is getting manhandled as well, right? And I'm sure we'll talk about that. I think from Wemby's standpoint, I think that he thinks there's a lot of dirty things happening towards him because they're doing a lot of things to his knees, in his knee area, right? But it's also he's 7'5", so I get. Right. But there's a lot of chipping that's going on out there, but you got to protect Jalen. We got to protect him. We got to.
Have you guys? I haven't seen in this series anything done to Wemby that I would consider unsportsmanlike. I think there's been a lot of clutching and grabbing and at making him every time he tries to flash, make him feel you. But I haven't seen anything that I thought was close to dirty-ish on him. Maybe
I think it's just a ton of holding.
Well, no, it's a lot of checking. But you guys got to watch the one off-the-ball play I asked you guys to watch next game is whenever he's rolling, watch how the guards are coming over and they're hitting him.
Okay.
There's not traditional one time is Alvarado. Last time he did something like that, he tried to throw Alvarado that to the ground, but he didn't get a good hold of him. If you look at it, Alvarado went right to his knees. And the first thing he does, he's buckled back on his knees, and then he's like, get away from me. You know what I mean?
Is that just because Wemby is such a unique player, has such a unique build, where Alvarado is doing a traditional box out, but Alvarado's 5'10"? It's just so happens when I box out, now I'm at your knees, as crazy as that sounds.
That is the case, right? But I think for him still, in his body, in his mind, he's like, bro, stop doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But am I allowed to box you out?
I mean, yeah, you box him out when the shot goes up. Like that Alvarado play in particular, he went to his knees on the roll. Yep. It wasn't even
well, that's how they were keeping him. They did a much better job of keeping him from the rim in the first two games, and I think a lot of that is how they did it.
Yeah,
like yesterday,
they were hitting him early before he even got a chance to roll.
Right, yesterday he was able to get more space to the rim,
which I was so surprised.
if I'm the league office, and then I'll shut up about this, I have to honestly ask myself, if Brunson doesn't keep his cool, does Wemby already have a flagrant foul for that? Because if after Brunson shoves him, or after he gets shoved, if Brunson turns and grabs him, it's about the same height difference right now. Just turns and grabs him. And then the refs the refs come out, break it up. They go to the monitor.
Yeah, he gets a flagrant.
He gets a flagrant.
1,000%.
Brunson gets the technical.
Yeah, I mean, he can't. Yeah.
He gets a flagrant, and nobody is arguing, oh, that's going to get rescinded.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But because Brunson didn't overreact and kept his cool, the refs didn't get a chance to go to the monitors. Like that is...
Yeah, Brunson should have strategically overreacted.
Yes, if Brunson strategically overreacts just to cause a fracas, then Wemby has a flagrant.
Yep.
No, I mean, there's no question about it.
All right, Al, you called this one yesterday. You said you wouldn't be surprised if Wemby thrived in a very inhospitable Garden atmosphere. Nailed it. Victor Wembanyama achieves New York sports villain status with dominant Game 3. Here's Wemby on being a villain.
It seems as though you may be New York's newest villain. Is that kind of the ultimate compliment?
I guess I'm nowhere near Trae Young level, though.
Reggie's like, don't forget to mention Reggie. Reaction
or
to Wemby.
Halliburton.
Always somebody.
Reaction to Wemby's overall performance under pressure.
I expected it. Like I said to you guys, like playing in New York as the opposing player is set up for it, right? You know, you're on the stage, you're in the Mecca, you got all the celebrities there, you got everybody there watching, and you got 20,000 of the craziest fans rooting against you. It usually gives you this extra energy that you normally wouldn't have to prove everybody wrong and shut everybody up. The New York fans are so aggressive in the things that they're saying. I think there was an F Wemby chant during the game, all these different things. And for that, that's like fueling me. And like I mentioned yesterday, all the greats, every great player that has played in this NBA has had career nights in Madison Square Garden. And I expected nothing less than what he actually did last night.
Yeah, like I said, I thought he, playing in the European professional leagues, he was used to raucous, intense environments. It is more intense over there than it is here in professional basketball, just because they let you do more things over
flares,
there.
Indoor flares. I love flares.
Right.
I like
no flares in the NBA.
Gunshots.
Right. It's crazy. They're throwing stuff at the court. So I thought he'd be fine. And look, I think Wemby's mentally tough. I think he's very mentally tough.
Sure.
And this Spurs team, and this is why if I'm the Knicks, they are still in control of the series, obviously. But I'd be concerned because this team, Castle had a quote last night where he said, whether he won or lost tonight, we still would feel like we're in the series. So if we're down 3-0, now somebody can just say that, but I think he meant it. You don't have to say that after you won the game.
Mm-hmm.
They we talked about the comeback against Minnesota down 1-0, and you lose the home court advantage. The comeback against OKC, and even last night, Nick, when they start out like gangbusters, looking great, and then the Knicks just walk them down and walk by them and take the lead, and you thought it was over. A lot of people probably thought, okay, this is it. And they just come right back. They lose a lot of leads too, obviously. Yeah. But they just always seem to feel like they can win. And they're not thinking about the bigger stuff of, you can't come back from 2-0 down when you lost the 2 at home. And I think all of that stems from Wemby. I think he, like Castle has said, he's their most mature guy, and he's their vocal leader, Castle has said. So I just think that he's a very mentally strong guy, and so I'm not surprised he handled it.
We cannot be surprised and still not want to gloss over how, at least to me, wildly impressive that was. He is 22, he is in year 3, and he was coming off his first major on-court failure, which was the end of Game 2. Yeah. The end of Game 2 it's a short career up to this point, obviously, but far and away the lowest moment of his career from a performance standpoint.
Yeah.
You could say the elbow, but he didn't seem to have a problem with doing the elbow, and then his game back after the elbow was framed as if, he was a returning hero. That was not, I don't think he thought that was an embarrassing moment. I think he was fine with it. This was a meltdown, I think, is too strong for what happened in Game 2, but it was a cascade of errors that led to just a horrific play that could have, and maybe it will end up, but cost his team a chance at a championship. For him to respond by every single quarter last night, I think every single quarter of that game, he was, maybe aside from the second quarter, the best player on the court. It was the first time all series that he was hands down the best player on the court for either team. I also think for the Spurs to win the championship, he's going to have to play at that level 3 more times. Yeah. I don't think they're going to win a game in this series where he is not excellent. I think that the Knicks have shown they can win a game with Brunson not being excellent, and I just don't think the Spurs are going to be able to get to the finish line if he's not able to tap into what he tapped into yesterday repeatedly throughout the series. I don't think it'll happen. I'm not going to act like it's an impossibility, but that was a resounding response to the first real on-court disappointment of his career, and he deserves massive credit for that.
How worried should Knicks fans be for Game 4? That's next on First Things First. Also going to try to get Al to have the same energy towards Wemby. You're going to roll into a big man going to the hoop? There's 2 days until the World Cup kicks off. First Things First is moving to 10 a.m. We'll be at 10 a.m. throughout the World Cup brew. Our call is at 6 a.m.
6 a.m.?
Yes, we will be here at about 6.
What do you mean?
When are you coming in?
Yeah, when are you? It's Summer Fridays for you, buddy.
6. I think I'm going to be here at 6:30.
You have to avoid traffic. That's the thing.
6:30 a.m. I will be
get
here.
caught in that traffic.
I don't got to worry about traffic. I live
Locked
right here.
in.
Heart of Manhattan. Walk down.
The Thursday to July 15th all the way through the final. So it'll be excellent.
I can't wait for it.
Set your DVRs.
This is going to be such an awesome, it's been so long. Well, I mean, it's been, I guess, 32 years since a domestic World Cup. But having all summer long, every day basically, awesome sporting events on during the day and at night.
Yeah, multiple games on all day.
I cannot wait for it.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And the shows are going to be great too, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
Can you imagine all my weekends in Vegas playing poker, watching the World Cup coming up?
Why are you going to Vegas? We have to be there at 6 a.m. Early
That means
flights,
Friday.
I guess.
You catch an early Friday flight.
The Knicks hadn't lost a game since April 23rd when they went down 1-2 to the Hawks and were famously on death's door, according to Brew.
That's a motivation.
I know.
Every time I use it.
Now, it's never happened in the finals, of course, but 5 teams in the playoffs have come back from losing the first 2 home games. All were in the first or second round, but it has happened, but just never in the finals, okay? How concerned should New York be right now?
I don't think the Knicks should be concerned at all. It doesn't mean they can't lose, and it doesn't mean the Spurs aren't an excellent team, but we were all yesterday talking about what a sweep would mean and where they would stand in history if they swept. Nobody thought going into the series the Knicks were going to sweep the Spurs. No, that pick I don't think existed. Some Spurs sweeping the Knicks picks existed. No Knicks sweeping the Spurs. And I don't even think any of us yesterday on the show said, oh, we now think the series is going to be a sweep.
But you thought the Knicks would win yesterday?
I at halftime I thought they'd win.
Okay.
When they came back, the way the first half played out, I was like, man, I think the Knicks have all of a sudden stolen control of this game, which is why I was so impressed by the Spurs' mettle in their second half. But I think the Knicks, I don't think the Spurs solved anything yesterday. I think the Knicks played poorly. And I think that it is totally fair to say that the Spurs played poorly, in some of their games early, and Wemby can play better, all of that. I just look at the advantage the Knicks have in that I do think this particular matchup favors them. I think the season series has shown us that. I think the fact that even though, to my eye, they played poorly yesterday, particularly on the defensive end, that they were in position to potentially steal it late makes me feel good. And I do think they are winning tomorrow. And if they don't win tomorrow, it'll be a giant disappointment. But again, it'll just be, okay, we're 2-2 going back to San Antonio. It's kind of weird because the road teams won every game, but that's about where most people thought the series would be. So no, I don't think they should be concerned. Nobody got hurt. I don't think the Spurs unlocked something a la when the Grizzlies were playing the Warriors in 2015, and the Warriors were like, oh, we're just not guarding Tony Allen. And it's like, oh, okay, now we have no answer to it. I don't think that happened, so I don't think the Knicks should be overly concerned here.
I don't think they should be concerned either, right? Obviously, I talked a lot of trash in regards of they should sweep and all that kind of stuff. That was my heart talking. But in a series, right, and especially playing, for the finals, teams are more evenly matched than we say, right? So I expected the Spurs were supposed to win a game. I think the reality of it is that when you really think about it, we haven't really fully dominated them in this series, right? Because game 2 could have easily went to the Spurs, right? We could have easily been coming back from New York 1-1. Coming from back San Antonio 1-1, and we'd be down 2-1 at this point, right? I can say that I know for a fact that the Knicks wish that this next game was in San Antonio, not in New York.
Why?
Because of the pressure.
Oh.
There's a lot of pressure playing here in New York City. I'm trying to tell y'all. It's a lot. And everybody's coming, and they're supposed to win. And there's gonna be a difficult game tomorrow. I think the Spurs are gonna come, they're gonna play well again. And the Knicks are going to have to figure out a way to win the game late. The one thing that I would say, if I was the Knicks, and I would think about, like, in the playoffs, especially the finals, it's all about adjustments, right? And these adjustments, you just need to make an adjustment to win one game at a time, right? The one adjustment that I would make is OG. I would feature OG some way in this series because when I look at the court and look at two mismatches out there, one is Wemby and the other one clearly is OG. There's nobody over there physically that can handle and guard OG Anunoby. I can't say his name. Sorry. But there's no one that can guard him. So somehow they got to figure out how to incorporate him a little bit more because he is the one mismatch out there that San Antonio has no one that can guard that person, that body right there. It looked like Bron out there.
Well, he had 28 or 29 last night.
He was 9 for 13. Right, but they weren't featuring.
No,
what I'm
and see, they're not. To me, they're not going to feature anybody except Brunson. They don't feature Cat.
Get you a win.
You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to feature any. Look, the Knicks shouldn't panic by any stretch, but to Al's point about that pressure, and the pressure is going to be more tomorrow night than it was yesterday, because now. I think the Knicks have done a great job of keeping their cool and being level-headed and not getting ahead of themselves. But the fans haven't for the most part. The city hasn't for the most part. I know you see some people from New York talking heads on TV saying, right? But everybody has felt, understandably, we got it. Right. We going to win the championship. So now, if tomorrow night, the Knicks, if that pressure is getting to them, they're feeling like, man, if we don't win tonight, fans might turn, it's going to really ratchet up the pressure. And I do think, Nick, these teams are very evenly matched. Yep. I think Al, not just game 2, obviously could have went to the Spurs. Game 1, they were leading with 2 minutes left. And I know the Knicks ended up winning by 10, but that was just, it wasn't a 10-point game. This could be 3-0 either way or 2-1 either way. These teams are very evenly matched, and the Spurs have the best player. I think the key is, and I know the Knicks have something to do with it, they got to bang Wemby more and keep him from the rim. But I think the Spurs have to if they make that commitment like yesterday, Wemby is starting inside, and it's going to be at the rim. That is huge. And then defensively, they did adjust where they took him off of Karl Anthony Towns. And Towns, again, the Knicks not running anything for him. Yeah. It's kind of like Carl can get his in the midst of our offense, but even though he's got Vassell, even though he's got De'Aaron Fox at times, even though he's got Keldon Johnson, we're not going to feature him. They may have to make an adjustment there, but Wemby not being on him allowed him to kind of roam, and he was able to block shots and change shots and things like that.
Do you agree? I vehemently feel like, let's say the Spurs had won game 2, that like you said, they easily could have. Wemby hits that shot. I think both teams looked drastically different last night.
Yeah,
So
the level. Yeah, I mean, you never know, right?
I just think there was a level of desperation that the Spurs naturally had to tap into.
There's no doubt
that the Knicks were not didn't have to, and were not going to be able to. Which is again why, I was dead wrong. Why I thought the Knicks had stymied that by leading at the end of the first half, and that was going to wear off, and then the Spurs played even better in the second half, and that's to their credit. I just think that some of yesterday's game was the team down 2-0, and we see it all the time when they're coming home. The team coming home down 2-0 gets game 3, and then the better team, when it's a real mismatch of a series, wins game 4 and then closes them out back at home in game 5. This is different because this isn't a mismatch of a series. The Knicks made so many lazy passes they weren't making in the games 1 and 2. Defensively, they were not nearly as connected. Offensively, after being a team that had been really running a beautiful offense, even though Brunson was taking a ton of shots, there were a ton of possessions where it's like there's 7 on the shot clock, 1 person has touched the ball, they're not getting into anything. I have enough, I think enough of what they did over the previous 13 games, even if they were on a heater, was real, that they are going to get back to at least a semblance of that for game 4.
Al, wanted to get your take on the officiating and Mike Brown's reaction to how the game was called. Here's a hard foul that was called. Take a listen to Mike Brown post-game.
There were a lot of things that we didn't do that we did in game 1 and game 2. But to go 24 free throw attempts in a second half, that's 48 for the game if you think about it the way that they called that second half, compared to 8. All the shots we took, we got fouled 4 times, roughly, for 8 free throw attempts. Again, I don't complain much. I never thought I'd see that in an NBA Finals game.
That hit your radar, the officiating?
So listen, I mean, I feel like I've sat at this desk with you guys multiple times, and we've watched the coach do exactly that.
Yeah.
Right? That's just them, trying to let put the referees on notice that we feel like it's unfair and give us a whistle, right? Watching this series, I feel like since game 2, the referees have letting this thing kind of get out of control from a physicality standpoint. The fouling is like ridiculous on both sides. Like there's times where Cat's trying to post and the little guy is knocking him off, wrapping his arms. There's times when, Wemby's trying to run into a pick and roll and Cat has 2 hands on him like this, and he can't even move.
Right.
And it's at the top of the key. So like as a ref, you're sitting there watching it like, why aren't you calling it, I think that at this point, you just kind of got to play the game that is being presented to you out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a physical game. You're going to have to play it. I can't say, honestly, I played obviously 16 years, even at the high school level and everything. I've never left a game where I was like, yo, the refs crushed it today. They were great, bro. Like, damn, we got a good whistle. Dog, you feel that whistle we got today? It just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So refs, and my point with that is the refs suck. Right? They always bad. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out a way to play through it. And that's what the Knicks got to do at this point. You know what I'm saying?
I do agree. Like, this is so physical. Richard Jefferson said it on the
during
broadcast.
game 2.
He said this has gotten too physical.
Yeah.
Sunday night football.
Yeah, and I do think it's kind of both. I mean, people have said that. I think it is both ways, because you're right that they are holding Wemby, getting your arm up under him.
Everyone's always wrapped
I think
it's
that's
a lot of this stuff going on.
I didn't think last night was poorly officiated. I thought game 2 was. I thought the Knicks got an egregiously bad whistle in game 2. They won anyway. I don't think that's why they lost last night at all. I think, though, that is I think what made Mike Brown upset, and Josh Dubois of the Associated Press said a 24-8 second half free throw gap in the finals had never happened before in the play-by-play era. So when Mike Brown says I'd never seen it, whether he knew it or not, since we have the numbers for it, nobody has seen it. I think his frustration was it absolutely has been this physical for at least the last 8 quarters, maybe maybe all 12 quarters. And then in the second half of this game, you called it regularly when they had the ball. I think that's his frustration. I don't think he is as frustrated with the Knicks' 8 free throw attempts as the Spurs. It did feel like they tightened it up. He's saying it felt like they tightened it up going in one direction. I also think if I'm Mike Brown, I am pretty frustrated that Game 2, if I have not very smartly saved my challenge, we don't get those 3 OG Anunoby free throws on a huge, critical, maybe game-saving play when the Spurs are coming back. Game 3, we get, I have to use a challenge on a massive Wemby 3 that gets overturned because Keldon Johnson pushed, I forget who it was, in the back into him. That a few plays later, you get an out-of-bounds call wrong. I got to use a challenge there. And so I've been right on my challenges, and then when Towns gets raked across the arms, I don't even have one to use. So I think that's why he's frustrated. But the Knicks lost that game because for the first time in 6 weeks, they played poorly, not because of the refs.
Coming up next, can Wemby keep this rolling for Game 4? That's next on First Things First with Al Harrington. Top performance presented by Capital One. Now, that's why I'll never be Jennifer Gardner. I blew it. Presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Step up, Wilds. Gee whiz. Game 2. Wow. Saw Wemby commit the game-deciding turnover and miss the game-winning shot. Game 3 saw Wemby go for 32 and 8 with 3 blocks. Brew, do you want to go? Are you feeling confident?
I'm feeling confident.
Okay. Do you think Wemby can keep this up?
Yes. And look, I hate to sound like a broken record. Go inside. Start inside. His first 5 shots were in the paint. Right. 11 of his 18 shots were at the rim. 13 of them were in the paint. Like, stay inside. And I don't want him not to shoot threes. I think he's a good three-point shooter. I don't want him not doing stuff from the perimeter. But start inside, and I think that other stuff will be easier, and he'll be in a rhythm. And so if he does that, I know the Knicks will come up with some things to try to keep him from the rim, particularly on the rolls and stuff like that. But even like yesterday, he even posted up. Like Anunoby was on him early, he posted him up, missed the shot, but still, stuff like that is what he should do. If he does that, I have no question he can keep it up. And then defensively, I assume they'll keep him off of Towns and let him roam, and whoever he's guarding is going to have the 3. And he'll leap out and contest. But, yeah, that's
all right,
what
before you respond, KW, you know how sometimes during the show you think something has happened and you do your very dramatic timeout
Yeah,
thing?
I call a timeout, yeah.
Will you do that, please?
Well, usually I do it when
Because I want to call an audible, but you have to call a timeout first.
We're just going to take 20.
Okay, that's all. Okay. I would like to audible. I want to ask Al a different question. Because I want Al to settle not a debate, but a potential. I want to see where Al stands on why Wemby hasn't been going to the inside more.
Okay.
Because he's 7'6".
Yeah, no one knows.
It seems like he could do it. My theory is it's more about his personal preference combined with playoff exhaustion. I think Brew's theory, correct me if I'm wrong, is the team is not emphasizing that enough as far as how they are doing things.
I agree with you on his personal preferences outside. But I also think Pop and Mitch Johnson, you need to be telling him. And I don't think it's just the playoffs. I've felt this way for the whole regular season.
So what do you think is the biggest reason Wemby is not more often just dominating from inside out rather than outside in?
Because I don't think he has a back-to-the-basket game.
So you think it's about unrefined ability at the moment?
He doesn't have a game down there. He's been taught his whole life to play the game as a guard.
Okay.
So he don't have no moves. That's what we talked about the other day. We're talking about him being raw offensively, right? He has no go-to moves. So if you throw it to him on the box, who knows what he's going to do with it? He probably don't even know what he's going to do with it, right? That's why I said this summer he should get with a guy like Dirk Nowitzki or somebody like that can kind of teach somebody that's, that's 7 foot and put a package together of playing down there on the box area. And I think that's even this summer he went to work with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
But when you think about Hakeem Olajuwon, I love that. I love that idea of that. But Hakeem was a 6'8" center. Right. So everything for him was like showing the ball here to get the shots. Big fella don't need none of that. Big fella need to play up here. You know what I'm saying?
But I agree with you. He don't have an established post-game. But he can get, if I have Anunoby on me and I get it, I can just turn up over him and lay it in. You know what I mean?
Or to your point, like we talked about yesterday, right? A running hook. Any of those different things. Those things are unstoppable moves for a guy his size, right? But I just honestly believe, because you just watch the way they play, right? What play do they run for him that's specifically
that's
direct?
Bruce's point.
Yeah. Do you agree? Because I don't think the coaching, like I blame Wemby obviously for not going inside, but I blame the coaching staff.
I don't think they have anything for that. Like most of his stuff to get to the box is those little back pick alley-oop plays.
Yes,
and if that's not there, then the ball swings, and then if he's in position that you could throw it in there, you throw it in there. Yes, last game I think was the only time I saw him make a post move was where he went middle here and he turned, and it was like the end of the game in the fourth quarter. He turned and shot it off the glass left hand. That was the only post move I feel like I've seen him make the entire playoffs.
Yeah, remember he had that one on Cat.
It was on Cat, it was in the fourth quarter. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like the only time
I've
seen
him
make a post move. I was like, wow, you got that? Because you never see it. So I think that's the reason why he doesn't do it.
And that's also why my answer to this question is no. Because I don't think he's going to. He made 8 twos yesterday. He almost had he did have a 30-point game despite only hitting 2 threes, which has not been the tendency for the playoffs aside from that game 1 of the conference finals when he only hit the 1 3 and he had a 40-point game. I think right now his offense is very reliant on his jump shot falling. It clearly, based on last night, we saw it doesn't have to be, but I don't expect him to be, maybe he will be that way again later in the series, but with 1 day rest, with them playing tomorrow, I don't expect that tomorrow. And so I think he can have another game like this, but I don't know that I think he can have 3 more games like this.
I just reserve, my answer till tomorrow if I can. I want to see what he does on his off day. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, is he going to go to the park and play chess? Is he going to hang upside down from the Empire State Building? This depends on what he's going to do today that's going to let me know what kind of game he's going to have tomorrow.
Live from New York, good 20 minutes of First Things First overtime. 22.
He's such a bad guy.
Today,
He's one of the worst guys in the world.
Expecting this version.
Tick, 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 tick.
It's a joke. Expecting this version of Wemby moving forward. That wasn't even the joke I was going to tell.
Yeah, well,
I got another one coming
up. We're excited.
Meanwhile, did last night flip this series? Are the Spurs actually in control? And finally, World Cup themed Top 10 Tuesday. And bonus, Danny in Times Square today revealing the World Cup watcher. Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildes, Nick Wright. Danny, tell us about the World Cup watcher and the revelation, I guess.
I've lived in multiple apartments worse than this cube. This cube is sick.
I didn't realize it was going to be that nice.
That's the cube? Air-conditioned cube, 2 85-inch TVs, a foosball table, a refrigerator, multiple couches, multiple recliners.
That is sweet. I love
$50K to 2 different guys. Over 6,000 people applied. Wow. They're going to watch every minute of the World Cup. It's all going to be on Fox 1. It was legit cool. This cube looked like it belonged in Times Square.
Really cool. I got to say, you look resplendent the back of the head.
The hair popped off
a little bit. But you look great.
Thanks.
And again, they're not living there.
I didn't know that. You know what? Maybe this is the key for all the outfit changes and everything. Maybe you should just be permanent sunglasses guy.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've always wanted to be sunglasses indoors guy. Do you think I could pull it off?
There are a lot of people wearing sunglasses on TV.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't necessarily know why.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you should just be permanent sunglasses guy. And for our walk-in videos, you should certainly be permanent iron clothes guy, as shown there. You look great. You look awesome.
I do think you wear sunglasses, at least for the first block of First Things First overtime, for maybe 8
10%?
Yeah, but I'm saying it should maybe be 100%.
Maybe a light tint.
Yeah. Maybe those blue.
No, not blue.
No, not
It's the
like
nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I think he's overstating it a little bit.
Blue
but
light.
You look fine.
Well, no, that's what Wemby puts on it.
Wemby puts that on.
Guys, we're cutting into my time.
Garden was rocking.
Go.
And Wemby was ready. Shot distance to start the game, Parkins.
Yeah.
1, 0, 1, 4, 4. Ended up with 32 points. And entertained the idea of being a classic New York City basketball villain. Take a listen.
It seems as though you may be New York's newest villain. Is that kind of the ultimate compliment?
I guess I'm nowhere near Trae Young level, though.
Oh, yeah. Parkins, what was the most impressive part of Wemby and the Spurs to you in Game 3?
So it's a cop-out to say everything, but I do think it is worth revisiting. Like, we take all of these games and we react to them in such big ways because they're big games. They're NBA Finals games. But Friday night, it dominated my conversations over the weekend. It dominated us yesterday. It was like, is this going to be a career-altering mistake for Wemby and the Spurs that we would talk about for years? And he was entering maybe the most hostile environments that basketball has produced in the last 50 years. And they are the second youngest team in the history of the NBA Finals, and they bounced back from it immediately. And as you mentioned, he came out and he was aggressive, and he was dunking, and he was not passive, and he was like enforcing his will on the game. And we can, like, so the highlights are worth showing because he's passing up threes and he's driving to the rim.
Love it.
And it's wildly impressive, and it's what everybody knows he needs to do. But at home, he wasn't doing it, and then in the Garden, he is. And statistically, I thought this was pretty cool. You know, I like the elite company list. 38-6 with 3 blocks to show for it. It's just guys who are the 12 best in the history of the sport.
Plus Durant.
Durant, I would have around 12. And Wemby at 22 years old, coming off of that mistake in that spot. But the reason why I have to go beyond Wemby just a little bit, they went 10 for 10 in the fourth quarter at the free throw line. Like, that young team was poised.
That part's exactly right. We haven't talked about that at all. If they miss one of those free throws, they can lose.
And can we show the Castle free throws that ice it? Because that is a designed play. De'Aaron Fox comes to the ball, and they throw it right back.
I kind of hate it. I thought it was a dangerous play.
I thought it was insane. I thought for sure they were going to Fox. But the fact that they drew up, we are going to have Fox come to the ball and immediately throw it back to the inbounder, at least as a primary option or read off of that play. He's 21 years old, and he steps up and knocks down 2 free throws to take it from 2 to 4
I thought
and
it was
essentially
a mistake.
ice the game.
I thought it was a mistake.
I was floored in the moment that it happened, and they questioned the pass on the broadcast, but it worked, and he nailed it. And I just think we talk so much about Wemby, and he deserves it. But the poise of the whole team in that spot coming off that loss is just so damn impressive.
Yeah, they're mentally tough, man. I mean, to come back from that halftime deficit when they had come out like gangbusters, punched the Knicks in the mouth, and then it all goes away, and they're actually at a deficit. I mean, they just never think they're dead. And I told you guys yesterday, like Isaiah Thomas had told me before the playoffs, they don't know. They're so young that they don't know what they're not supposed to do. And that's what it feels like. They never feel like they think they're out of it. And ironically, not the last team, but they're the second youngest team in the finals history. The youngest was the Bill Walton team that won the championship in '77, and they came back from a 0-2 deficit. It wasn't losing the first 2 at home, but it also was against a legend in Dr. J, this huge towering figure in the game. And so, I just thought that mistake at the end, or mistakes at the end of game 2, almost feel like a long time ago. Like Wemby just
because
moved
he played
right
so
past
well.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like that's not even a thought in people's minds at this point because he came down and played so well.
All right, first of all, I'm a little disappointed because I was so certain. I thought yesterday Brew was going to be a little down in the dumps After Wemby's mistakes, they're down 0-2.
Yeah.
And I was so certain yesterday that he was going to mention, one of the teams come back from down 0-2, the other youngest team ever. Yesterday, I had a whole 77 Blazers highlight reel queued up the whole show. For the moment he mentioned it, they were going to play it. But today I was like, I think we've missed our moment.
Those younger.
I was super excited about it. I was like, Brew, this will
Wild's actually killed
I was
that.
like, Brew, this will cheer you up.
Like,
I was
Christina, do
like,
we have
here's
any
the moment.
1970s standard depth?
Well, they were down. We always say the only guy in his first playoff run win a championship, and they were down 0-2.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I suppose, to this, I think you keying on the free throws is hugely important because I did, and it wasn't Castle made those free throws. He also hit the three that I think saved the game. I know that sounds crazy because they were up 4 even if they missed, but I didn't love. It felt like the Knicks were surging finally. The crowd was finally believing, and they just needed one to get it to one possession one time, and I would have believed they could do it, and that possession was going nowhere. Wemby would just kind of toss Castle a grenade. Castle hit that three, and then after they missed their first 8 threes of the fourth quarter, so this is the play the Castle play, the Knicks hitting those 2 back-to-back threes to put the pressure on San Antonio where you've got to inbound it. You can't turn it over. And then you've got to hit your free throws, I thought was wildly impressive. But I do think it is specifically Wemby because he is good enough and has such, a unique size advantage. We have seen him have empty calorie 26.10 rebound games, if such a thing exists, where it doesn't feel like he is super. No, that's the example.
He was averaging 27 and 10 coming into this
correct,
game.
and he didn't feel like. And it's not only that he didn't feel like he was playing well; he wasn't playing that well, in my opinion. This game he was 32 and 8, and it felt like the impact of a 40 and 15. It felt like every basket mattered. Defensively, he had 5 combined steals and blocks. Yep. He had another 5 combined. You're not even going to try that shot.
We need to make that a stat.
Stocks.
No, he means
thought about it but decided against it.
Throw it in reverse.
And so I just thought on the heels of what was real failure in Game 2, I thought it was a really important and cool moment of his career, even if I think my money would be on that's the best game he'll play these finals, because I don't think he's going to have as much gas left in the tank, and I don't think he's going to have as much success moving forward. But even if that's the case, having it right after the game, too, I think is important.
Brew, do you agree with that real quickly? Is that the best game you're going to see?
No,
in these finals?
if they're going to win, he's going to have to play at least that well, if not better.
We're set up for a real battle coming up. Knicks lose their first game since the NFL draft. Brunson goes for 32, 11 for 25 from the field, 7 for 8 from the line, but has only averaged a little more than 4 assists for the finals. Last series, he was around 8. Christina pulled up this graphic here. Field goal attempt leaders in the finals. Brunson's got 81. Cat's got 37, OG has 35, and shout out to Larry Shaman's 29. He's getting in there and shooting.
So Cat and OG have combined for 72, and Brunson's got 81.
Dan, do you think the Knicks are relying on Jalen Brunson a little too much?
Yes, absolutely. But I've been wrong about this all year, but this is one of the primary reasons why I just I didn't believe originally in the ceiling of this team. It's not my preferred brand of basketball, even if it does contribute to Brunson turning into a bit of a folk hero, because he can be clutch player of the year and he can lead the fourth quarter in scoring and all of those things. But it's hero ball. And
you think that's what he's playing hero? I know the numbers say it, but it's not how I'm looking at it.
I think they just expect him to be the guy in the fourth quarter.
Well, in the fourth. And he has been the guy.
Sure.
Yeah, but I know it has worked, and so I know what I'm saying is and that's why we love him, and that's why we're here. I know that. And maybe it will actually win them a championship, and it won them game 1 for sure, because he was great in the fourth quarter. I still think that if we show the numbers on the whole, In this matchup, you are playing with fire because of Castle's perimeter defense, because of Wemby behind him. He has as many points as field goal attempts in the series, 82 against 81. And he is just being wildly inefficient. And when you shoot that much...
So it's the most since the LeBron one-man team against the Warriors.
And I'm about to show that to you. Like, to take this many field goal attempts through the first 3 games, but to score that few of points on that low of efficiency, I don't find it to be a good recipe for success. Even though they're up 2-1, even though he's hit huge shots, I think it helps Wemby because everyone's kind of watching him and he can rest a little bit. Right. And he played the whole fourth quarter. And I know part of that is because of the timeouts that were saved and the challenges and the flow of last night's game.
But do you think he's taking a bunch of bad shots?
I think he's taking bad shots.
I thought yesterday there was a few times where it looked like he was kind of forcing it to get going. But on the whole, I haven't watched Brunson this series. Been like, why are you shooting that? Like, it does. You were right that Castle is really giving him trouble and wearing him down. Some of these things are coming up short. But I don't think Brunson is taking, at least to my eye, it doesn't feel like he's taking bad shots.
I don't think he takes bad shots. But him shooting so much disallows the other guys to get involved. Like I said, they were guarding Cat with guards, and they were not exploiting that. They weren't force-feeding him to force Wemby back onto him so they could open up the offense. And look, this is the style, and Brunson is great. Nobody's taking anything away from him.
He's amazing.
But this is the style, the Brunson-centric, that had them down 2-1 to Atlanta. It was when they switched and kind of had Cat being more of a facilitator and Brunson off the ball a little bit more that they went on that 13-game win streak. And so could they go back to that? They averaged 27 assists a game in a 13-game win streak. They had 18 last night. So Cat had 1 assist.
Right.
So they have to get back to playing. And I said it earlier, if you can get on a heater, you can get off a heater. So we'll see if they can quickly go back to that style they were playing before.
I just didn't feel like last night Brunson, I know he took more shots. He was also more efficient last night than he had been earlier in the series. I didn't think Brunson last night was I guess he didn't take more shots.
11 for 25 isn't that bad.
No. And if he's taken 82, so that means in the other games he's averaging more than So that's my only pushback would be he was more efficient with slightly less shots last night than he was in the first 2 games. And the first 2 games were part of the 13-game winning streak. And the first 2 games we were saying Cat was playing the best ball of his career. So this style, I don't think he has played in this series, he personally, Jalen Brunson, dramatically different stylistically than he did in the playoffs leading up to this. He's been less effective because they have better defenders. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's been...
He has shot a lot more in this series.
I just wonder how much of that is he's played like you were saying, the other series playing less minutes. He's missing. There's blowouts. Like he has less reason to be in the game. But
in the fourth quarter, I want him to take
everybody wants him to take
literally
every shot.
Fourth quarter. I'm happy with every
I'm talking about the
single
first 3.
shot.
The fourth quarter,
World Cup starts Thursday when Mexico takes on South Africa on Fox. Right now, it's time for Danny's Top 10 Tuesday. Today's topic: the top 10 players you're most excited to watch in the World Cup.
There's a lot more than 10, but it's Top 10 Tuesday.
Top 10 Tuesday.
Whatever. Weston McKennie coming in at number 10. Feels like to me he is the 1B to Christian Pulisic. I feel like he has superstar potential, first American-born player to play for Juventus. He's played with Ronaldo. He has the ability where it feels like he can do anything on the pitch, and it's very difficult for me to see the U.S. men's national team having a run in this World Cup without him having a massive impact. So I can't wait to see how he steps up in the World Cup. Coming in at number 9, Harry Kane. An argument to be made, no one is under more pressure in this World Cup than Harry Kane. He has everything you could possibly want on a resume except a World Cup. If we put up where he ranks in terms of the international goal scorers there, Ronaldo, Messi, a distant
pretty
third.
Big gap.
Pretty big gap.
Still third.
Pretty big gap. Yeah. But he's a record-setting English goal scorer for a country that hasn't won the World Cup since 1966. Yep. Massive pressure. Coming in at number 8, speaking of pressure, Vinny Jr. on Brazil.
My pick.
Huge drought for Brazil by their standards going back to 2002. Pressure ratcheted up because of the Neymar injury and because Argentina won it last year in their rivalry. And then just with all of the other injuries around him, it's like, okay, you're the guy who now has to be the face of Brazilian soccer. No big deal. Go do it in the World Cup when you're one of the 5 favorites to win the whole tournament. Coming in at number 7, back to Team USA, Fuller and Thank you. I practiced it a million times.
That's why you screwed it
My
up.
guy Ballo.
Yeah.
He might be the best striker for the Americans since Dempsey, like in terms of your pure goal scorers. And if you think that form matters going into a World Cup, like we were talking about with Kane, he's playing unbelievable. He's got 10 goals in his last 16 starts for club and country. So he's been absolutely amazing. The U.S., again, is going to need him to find the back of the net. Coming to number 6, Erling Haaland from Norway. This dude just has everything that you want. He is so fast. He finds the back of the net. He's got a 10 out of 10 man bun. Like he just looks like a soccer player, and I thought this was really cool. Norway's in the World Cup for the first time since 1998. He was born in 2000, and he's one of the best goal scorers in the world.
He might be the best player in the world.
He's in that conversation. Like, can they win the whole thing? They're 30-1. They're very dependent on him to get it done, but he is an absolutely amazing player. Now we get into the players who are known by just one name. Number 5, Mbappe. He's been the anointed superstar since he makes his debut 2 World Cups ago, 2018, wins the World Cup at 19. Then, last World Cup, he's 23 years old. He gets the Golden Boot, 3 goals in the final loss, of course, to Argentina. And now he's 27. He's the face of European soccer, given that Ronaldo doesn't play in Europe anymore. Messi doesn't play in Europe. But if we compare him, Mbappe, Ronaldo, and Messi, look at where he is in goals scored in the World Cup in that few of appearances. He's got a really good chance at the end of this World Cup that he'll be in front of those 2 all-time legends. Speaking of the all-time legends, number 4, Ronaldo. Listen, his career it's linked with Messi. They've played head-to-head a million times, global icons, and in some ways, there's a LeBron corollary here. Other side of 40, are they absolutely better with him on the pitch? How much of this is in honor of him? Is this a victory lap? He doesn't have the World Cup on his resume, but he has everything else. It's unbelievable that he is still playing at the level that he is, and obviously this will be his last
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
This might sound too mean-spirited. Josh, if this is too mean-spirited, just raise your hand. Josh is our resident soccer expert. Are we on dud watch with Ronaldo this World Cup?
I mean,
that the name and the resume and the aura, it does feel mean-spirited. It sort of outstrips where he is as a player right now. Too mean, Josh, or no? Not too mean.
I mean, I think it's certainly on watch, but it's also legendary players do legendary things. It's his final World Cup. You see what he can do.
He's the only player to score a goal in 5 different World Cups. Like, it's a longevity thing, and he's an icon.
Good enough to have 2 of my Legos that you're going to
again, your Lego building.
Yeah.
Should not weigh in on Top 10 Tuesday.
Really? Because we showed a jersey list earlier.
Oh. A little bit of infighting, folks. Coming in at number 3.
Impressive toy collection.
Danny, you only have a minute left.
Well, I'm not. Actually, we're going into extras.
Yeah, extras in overtime. Listen, he's the best soccer player of my lifetime. When I think of soccer, I think of Messi. My 6-year-old son asked for a Messi jersey. He's never seen him play. I honestly have no idea how it has infiltrated kindergarten in suburban New York, but it has, and it's amazing that he got that moment in last year's World Cup where he finally wins, and he's coming back for more. It all feels like icing. But every World Cup, there's a little bit of a passing of the torch. Number 2, if Ronaldo and Messi are passing it, they're passing it to this guy, Lamine Yamal. The hamstring injury is a huge story, expecting him to be great. I like fast guys. He dribbles through everybody, and I know this comp is sacrilege in the soccer world. Feels a little Pele-ish in that Pele bursts into the scene, wins his first World Cup in '58 at 17 years old. Yamal is 18 years old, his first World Cup. has an argument for best, most talented player in the world, on the favorites, could win the whole thing, or the co-favorites.
Year of the
with
hamstring,
France.
though.
Year of the hamstring is a huge. And then number one, listen, Christian Pulisic, face of U.S. soccer, didn't make it 2 World Cups ago. You're the host country. You're the best player. Need you to get it done. I mean, it's the guy that means the most to the host country.
Nice list. Did you think about, I'm giving the guy from England, Jude Bellingham. How did he?
I mean, listen, he was in the others considering votes. We could have done 100 guys, and so like, why are you most excited to watch him? I guess there's debate if he's going to even start.
Yeah, which seems crazy to me. And some of the players said that. Like, I don't know if maybe that's the coach trying to motivate him.
Right.
He's kind of had the hamstring injury with Real Madrid this year, but typically he's come up big for them in big moments. So it'd be nice to see him have a great cup.
And I'll go very quick. Our least experienced goaltender is going to be our goaltender, and Matt Freese. And I think that their goals are going to be hard to come by against the group we are in, particularly because of the style that Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey are going to play. So, Matt Freese probably going to have to put up a couple clean sheets in the group stage. That I'm just excited to see if he can do it. That's it.
I'm a little nervous about that, too. I sound like Mr. Nervous here.
Yeah.
You really
Mr. Anxiety. Maybe that
I'm a little nervous about it. I'm a little nervous. What are you talking about? My attitude's been great. I turned it right around.
He's nervous about the Knicks. He's nervous about it.
Al Harrington with Parkins next.
And Kevin O'Connor. Welcome back to First Things First. I got 2 of the guys who are in the Garden with me now. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Ben Stiller and Timothy Chalamet. Next best thing, it's Al Harrington and Kevin O'Connor. And you guys can decide for yourselves who had the better seats between the two. They will get to the atmosphere in just a second. But first, here's Wemby on the difference of playing at home and on the road in the finals.
At home, it really feels like playing 6 against 5. And here it feels like playing 5 against 6. I agree with Luke. It really shows what teams are made of.
All right, Al, as a former Knick who had good seats, we'll start with you. What impact did MSG have on that game last night?
I think for the Spurs, it had a positive impact for those guys.
And that is so counterintuitive, I think, to most sports fans, but we talked about it a lot yesterday, so explain.
I mean, because when you're playing on the road, you know what I'm saying, you have everything to win, right? You have nothing to lose. And, when you have people screaming all kind of different things at you and going against you, it gives you this fuel and this energy to prove everybody wrong. All you want to do is shut up 20,000 people. Every play, that's all you're thinking about. And then you find people in the crowd, you find celebrities and stuff that you can point at and look at and be like, what? It brings this energy out of you that you don't get at home. When you're at home, you're expected to win, right? And I think at home, especially playing here in New York, it's a different monster, right? I think that even with the Knicks tomorrow, right, they would prefer for this game to be in San Antonio tomorrow than actually be at the Garden, just because of the expectations and just the pressure of playing at home. It's such a high expectation.
Wasn't there once a time, though, where home court advantage was a thing in the playoffs? And now it's at the point where it feels like it's been completely reversed, where the away team feels more comfortable. And I can't quite understand how that's happening. Is it simply 3-point variance? But
that wasn't the case last night.
And that wasn't the case last night. Is it something about upbringing? Like you're on social media, you get people criticizing you, or you're learning how to filter that out or use it as fuel? But it's just such a strange thing. What is yours?
I got a theory. We talk all the time about Wemby and mindfulness. These guys have mental skills coaches and mental health. Seriously, I'm not saying that as a pejorative in any way. I've been in therapy for a decade. Not saying that. But honestly, Wemby's pre-shot routine at the foul line involves
breath work, right?
Measured breath work. Exactly. And so that sort of thing transfers. And so I think in the past it was oh man, this ref is going to be intimidated by the crowd. And now that's graded. The referees have scores that are tracked. So I just think that the idea of home court advantage has been neutralized in a great way. And I think part of it with the Spurs team anyway is they follow Wemby and they're too young, man. They're too, the pejorative way would say young and dumb, but they don't know what they don't know. And so they're we can go into the Garden and perform in front of Ben Stiller. What's the big deal?
They are still highly confident. They think that they're still the better team, which, after losing 2 home games, normally that would affect teams and affect especially a young team, you would think. But for them, they feel like they're still in the driver's seat, which is very weird, but it's also the reason why they played the way they played last
Do you think it negatively impacted the Knicks? Like, do you think the Knicks played tight because of the expectations in the building?
I don't think they was as tight as they're going to be tomorrow. I think
Interesting.
tomorrow night is going to be for them like, we got to win this game. Like, we have to. You know what I'm saying? We want to go back to San Antonio in the driver's seat, but they're going to have to play a full 48 minutes.
I mean, look, game 3 before the game was just all hype.
Right.
Like Knicks in 4, confidence from the fans and probably from the players too. Game 4, what is it going to be? Uh-oh. We can't lose 2 at MSG going back to San Antonio with the Knicks trending down and the Spurs trending up in this series, because the Spurs might be young and dumb, but they also are really tough and smart too. And that's why they executed that game plan at a high level on the road against the wall after losing 2 in a row and having a back-breaking turnover at the end of that game by Wemby. He could have folded in that moment, but he does seem built for it.
KOC, to that point, like this series is more evenly matched than, we've kind of portrayed it to be, because you think, like you just said, game 2 easily could have went their way, right? We could have easily came back to New York 1-1, and they obviously came back 2-0, and then they win last night. This could be a totally different series. Every single game has come down to like the last 3 minutes of the game, and that's why I'm still confident that I feel like because of everything the Knicks has been through to get to this point, the last 3 years, heartbreak, growing together, that they should be able to pull this series out.
Were you okay being in the 4th row?
Still a little upset.
Okay, yeah, I just want to be sure you're going to be okay. Oh, listen, it's like
My nose is bleeding.
It's like the saying goes: a series doesn't start until a team wins at home. All right, so we talked about the atmosphere last night at the Garden. Let's talk about the officiating, because Mike Brown wants us to. He had a lot to say at the beginning of his press conference. Take a listen.
First of all, I want to make sure I get something clear. Coach Mitch Johnson and the Spurs, they won the game tonight. They came and took the game. But I will say this, I never thought I'd be in the NBA Finals and see a team get 24 free throw attempts in the second half to another team's 8.
All right, KOC, lead us off here. Again, you were there last night. Did you feel like there was an issue? Did you have a problem with the officiating?
No, I think there were a couple of extendee calls, right? Throughout the game. I understand why Knicks fans are mad when you see Jalen Brunson getting truck sticked and there's no flagrant call. But hey, that's the way they're calling it.
Right.
That's been clear since the middle of April, and that's been increasingly true throughout the postseason. The referees are going to let these guys play and be very, very aggressive. Yep. And I felt like the Spurs were the more aggressive and forceful team throughout the series, and especially in Game 3 at getting to the basket. Stephon Castle early in the game, downhill attacking over and over. And then throughout, some of the truck sticks, the Wemby play, should have been a flagrant on Jalen Brunson, but it wasn't. I don't feel like the Knicks have quite matched that energy throughout the series, and definitely not in Game 3.
For sure, KLC. Listen, the Spurs are the more desperate team, right? They showed that from as soon as the game started. As far as with the officiating, when I look at it, like we've seen every series, we've seen a coach have that same press conference.
Yes, exactly.
We're getting fouled. It's not fair. But I actually, we just seen those clips. Right now, I feel like the officiating is a little out of control. I think it's a little bit too much physicality, right? The holding, the wrapping of arms, the truck stick and all this type of stuff. It's gotten a little out of control because
Richard Jefferson said that on the broadcast in Game 2. He was like, "This is
it's Sunday night.
He's like, it's over the line."
It's like Sunday night football.
Yeah.
It's like all season, the game is about freedom of motion, guys being able to get to positions, run and set pick and rolls. There's times when Wemby is supposed to set a high pick and roll, and Carl will put his hands on him and he can't even take a step.
Right.
Bumper cars.
It's like what is that?
Well, so that is a weird spot though, because it's such a hard sport to officiate because we don't like ticky-tack fouls.
Right.
We like physical play, but then it is physical play, and we're like, well, that's too physical.
They've crossed the line.
But that line is not exactly a defined thing. And I think that last night when they started calling a few fouls in the second half and the Knicks got into the bonus, I think a lot of players were turning around and looking at the rest being like, you didn't call that in the second quarter, and now you're calling it now because they did feel it like approaching the line. So I like physical play. I find it to be interesting, but I do think it confuses the players when you kind of go back and
Remember
forth.
our parents or like our old coaches always tell us the second person is always the one that gets caught.
Yeah.
right? And that's the problem. The Knicks was reactionary, right? So then by the time they decided to get mad and start being more physical, it was like already too late. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to catch up, and now the refs are trying to, control the game a little bit. So I think that, this is how it's going to be this entire finals. So guys,
so you don't think Mike Brown's politicking will work? You think that it will continue to be officiated like it's been?
I think so.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think for TV and viewership and everything, like no one wanted a sweep. You know what I'm saying? I would say the powers that be maybe. And I know I don't want to sweep. Like, as much as I was saying Knicks in 4.
Pretty sure you wanted
I did want one, but but also like the problem is like once this goes off, we don't have nothing else to watch. You know what I'm saying? Well, we have World Cup. Sorry, we have World Cup.
Please,
right? We have World Cup.
For basketball, you mean.
But we have no basketball. But like right now,
over.
everybody's life is revolved around these games at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard all around the country. You know what I'm saying? But when those games are over, it sucks.
I feel you. I thought the thing that if I had the biggest gripe of the Knicks fan, it wouldn't be the bonus or the foul shot discrepancy or anything like that, because I agree that they were more aggressive. There were the Wemby play on Brunson and then Dylan Harper just walking off the bench to delay when they were trying to get the review and then playing with 6 guys on the court. Like
that one was messed up.
That's a technical foul.
Yeah.
So I do think that there were some high-profile misses that went against the Knicks, but in general, the Spurs deserved to win that game. All right, so yesterday I called the Finals MVP for Karl Anthony Towns after 2 games. That's not when they give out the award. They have more games to play. So we will discuss whether or not Knicks fans should be concerned after a relatively quiet night from Cat coming up on the OT. Yesterday, I sat right here and I was like, I think Karl Anthony Towns is Finals MVP. Then a few hours later, he had 11 points and went 4 of 10 from the floor, and shockingly, the race is wide open. But when you look at the series, games 1 and 2, games 3, I think I had pretty good reason to say it. He was amazing early, and he had outplayed Wemby, and then last night, Wemby clearly outplayed him, and that's why it's a long series, and they give out the award at the end of it. But Al, were you surprised by Cat's quiet game 3 after he'd been so good in games 1 and 2?
I wasn't surprised. I feel like they played a little differently than they normally do the first 2 games. Like I felt like the first 2 games they had more ball movement. Cat was like the initiator of the offense. Last night I feel like JB came out and was just like, look, I'm the king of New York and I'm about to show everybody. So he was way more aggressive, trying to score the ball, getting off shots. I sometimes think that like these guys do watch our shows and stuff like that and hear us saying like, you ain't the MVP, it's this guy. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it might have got to him a little bit and he just said, I'm gonna go out and put on a show. You know what I'm saying? I got everybody watching. And I felt like because of his aggressiveness, it took away from, mainly Cat, right? OG still found a way to play a good game. Bridges, another one that wasn't as involved as he had been in the first 2 games. So I feel like because Jalen came out as aggressive as he did, I felt like Cat didn't play the same that he had played the first 2 games.
I think that's spot on, Al, because I think with OG, granted he has 28 in the game, how many of those were just end of the clock, bail us out plays? Right. That's a symptom of what was happening in the game. Karl Anthony Towns, game 1, Cat had 63 touches. Game 2, 64 touches. Game 3, 45 touches.
Yeah, that's not enough.
So a big decline in touches for Cat in the game, and ultimately what worked in the middle of the Atlanta series, way back after they lost April 23rd, they put the ball into Karl Anthony Towns' hands, and then they reverted back to Brunson ball in this game, and that can't happen when Brunson in this series, he's played pretty well in the limited minutes. Wemby's been off the floor, 8 of 15 from the field, 53% effective field goal, and then in the minutes with Wemby on, he's 22 of 66 in the series. Super inefficient, 39% effective field goal, 33% field goal percentage. If Brunson is gonna continue to play like this, like SGA did last round, less efficient, less effective when Wemby's on the floor, you have to find other ways to beat them. The OKC Thunder didn't have it. They were missing Jalen Williams. They were missing AJ Mitchell. The Knicks have a plethora of options, and Karl Anthony Towns needs to be at the top of the list. He needs to be their MVP, Danny.
Yeah.
You have to be right for them to win the series.
Yeah, well, listen, 20 fewer touches is a shocking number when foul trouble's not really a part of the story. Like that, there's really no good explanation for why that would happen. And I will just say this, not like married to the take or anything. I picked the Spurs, so I am as shocked as anybody by how Cat played in the first 2 games. Even though Wemby was amazing, and even though Towns was not nearly as impactful on offense, I still think he's doing a great job on Victor.
No, he's playing very good.
Like I wanted to show, but I want to show a few clips here. Like his hands, he just keeps knocking the ball out of Wemby's hands. It's fairly remarkable that a guy who had been so maligned for his defense and his effort is able to take one of the most, if not the most talented player in the world and consistently get his hand on the ball and not foul. These are all different plays where Wemby is looking to score, most of the time leaves his feet, and Cat is still touching the ball. So, like, even though it was a dominant night by Victor Wembanyama and a bad offensive night by Karl Anthony Towns, I still thought he made an impact, and if Cat wasn't out there, Wemby might have had 40 points in the game.
I mean, I think Cat's on-ball defense on Wemby has been
great.
Importance. It's been excellent. Even in Game 3, it was excellent. But the difference is the Spurs decided, we're just not going to go to Victor Wembanyama as an on-ball creator. We're going to feed him the ball and create opportunities for him.
Yeah, they decided to throw alley-oops to a guy who's 7'5". Right. It made all the sense in the world.
First possession of the game. This is the way it's going to be.
Yeah, give the ball to the guy at the rim.
Because the other two games, it seemed like he never got a chance to be free for an alley-oop. The Knicks would like chucking him, so early as soon as he rolled. But for some reason, last night he was able to get free and get those alley-oops. But Cat, to your point, Cat's playing great. He's super locked in and engaged defensively. And I think also the fact of his length and his size, he's kind of like in his shot pocket where most guys aren't. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the reason why he's affecting all of his jump shots.
All right, let's get a little bit more specific into Wemby's game last night because it was clearly his best of the series. He wasn't great in game 1 and 2, even though the counting stats were pretty good. 32, 8, 2 steals, 3 blocks last night. Here's Mitch Johnson after the game.
I'm sure Victor has numerous sources of motivation, and I don't think any of us are surprised or would expect anything different than a strong performance and him being on his front foot in terms of being in attack mode.
KOC, do you expect last night's version of Wemby the rest of the series?
I think they found something that's working effectively to get Wemby more assisted chances at the rim. And like if you think of the numbers game by game with his field goal attempts, he's taken 21 shots in games 1 and 2, 9 3-point attempts down to 6 3-point attempts in game 2, down to 4 in game 3. The paint attempts have gone up every single game. And that's in part because of the way in which they're running their offense, less through Wemby one-on-one, a little bit sloppy sometimes against Cat, and instead screen and roll, sometimes downhill attacking with Stephon Castle,
that's
sometimes probing. Yep. And the assisted chances, 2 of his 6 made shots in game 1 assisted, 7 of 11 in game 2, 10 of the 11 made shots in game 3. That's in part because, as you said, they're just throwing it up to the 7'7" guy, saying, go and get it. He has like this Wilt Chamberlain ability to guide the ball in. How does he do these things sometimes? But ultimately, yes, and elite touch. And I think they've found that, hey, let's have Castle, Fox, and Harper initiate and have Wemby finish, and that's truly what makes the defense panic is when Wemby's inside the paint, not when he's just dribble floating on the perimeter.
Yeah, I definitely believe that if they do figure out a ways to keep getting him the ball closer to the basket, he will have more success. It's obvious, right? Because his size is just, you can't guard it, When he's out on the perimeter, I think that's when it's like obviously the best for the Knicks, right? Because obviously, Karl's quick enough to guard. The guards have done a great job of getting in and getting hands in there, getting loose balls and stuff like that, which will result into turnovers. But I really reserve my right to really decide till tomorrow. I want to see how his off day goes. Like, I just want to find out, did he go and play chess? Did he go and hang out at the Empire State? Like, what did he do today to recover?
Painting in the park.
Like, just what did he decide to do today to figure out how he's going to play tomorrow? So I want to hear at the reports tomorrow.
All right, well, we'll ask you again tomorrow. I would say that Game 4, I will be interested in what's left in the tank, because it's just the one day off before that. And then the rest between games 4 and 5, games 5 and 6, and if necessary, game 7, there's that extra day of rest in the final, so a little bit more rest and recovery time. They're clearly going to try to get him the paint touches. But he's also it's just wildly impressive that he was able to bounce back from that moment in game 2 and not be bothered by it in game 3. Like there's a mental resolve there that you do not expect a guy his age to have.
He's playing above his age. For sure. And, I don't know if it's just the zen of hanging out with the Shaolin monks and all that kind of stuff, but he just keeps answering the bell. Like, every game we see times where we're like, he's done. He has no legs. He has no pop. He has no nothing. And then he does what he does last night, but from the standpoint of like watching him in all these series, usually when he has a strong game like he had last night, the next game is a little pedestrian, but it's still a 25-point game. But I'm excited to see how he responds.
And I think the Knicks played a little bit into his hands with that Brunson hero ball. Save a little bit more energy on defense because you know where it's going to be. They're not passing as much, so he can be a little bit more stationary.
Keep him in actions.
There were a lot of reviews last night, so he got to play the entire fourth quarter, so there's just more natural rests for him. So I think that game really played into his hands. Did it flip the series, though? We'll discuss on the OT. All right, gentlemen, welcome back here. A home team hasn't won. Like, this finals is now objectively off the rails and weird, but it has also been 3 coin toss games. I know the Knicks won by double digits in game 1, but if the question is, does last night flip the series? I honestly, because the Knicks won game 1 by double digits, I will give them that respect, but the Spurs were leading with less than 3 minutes left and had a 14-point lead in the third quarter. I honestly feel like this could be 3-0 in either direction. So I'm not going to say that last night flipped anything, because I really think any result possible is possible right now.
It easily could be 3-0 in either direction, given how closely matched these teams are. So no, I don't think this flipped the series at all. I think game 4 is what's gonna, because if the Knicks lose at Madison Square Garden in game 4 with what will probably be a nervous crowd after losing game 3. Game 3 was all hype. Game 4 is gonna be nerves. If they lose that game, I wouldn't be feeling good going back to San Antonio.
Yeah, that's my take, is look, it has not flipped the series, but the Knicks cannot lose game 4. Figure it out, fellas.
Figure it. Okay, are you confident? And I know you can save. You're ready for tomorrow.
Of course I'm confident.
You're projecting confidence.
You want me to do my chant again?
No.
All right then.
It's just it's too simple. Go New York, go New York, go. I'm like,
Go
it's
New York,
3
go
words.
New York,
It's 3
go.
words.
Hey.
Got great rhythm though, Dan.
I mean, he does have good rhythm. He does objectively have good rhythm. But you didn't bring home the win last night.
I didn't. 'Cause I didn't do my chant. That's what happened.
You didn't do the chant. The curse of Al Harrington in the 4th row. That's what they're saying. That's what swung the series. We'll see you tomorrow on the OT.